Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome in. It's Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. We are live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Our guy Charlie Usen back in the studio. We are at Moe's Irish Pub. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody right here on Highway 100 in Wauwatosa at Moe's Irish Pub. Like I said, this place is absolutely jam-packed, I tell you. Whether it's coming out here and enjoying some of the the St. Patrick's Fair, or people just going out here and just having some of the normal great stuff off of their menu. I'm a big grilled cheese and tomato soup, big fan of that. So lots and lots of great food specials out here throughout the day and coming up tonight. Irish dancers were performing. They had bagpipes earlier here this morning too. So lots of stuff going on out here. Come hang out with us if you're in southeastern Wisconsin. We'd love to see you out here. Coming up on the show today, a rare guest-free show for you. Yeah, that means there's a lot of Charlie and a lot of Sparky with you for the rest of the day. I want to start off first talking about a big NFL trade that occurred today that, to be quite honest with you, I guess I will say, probably like a lot of other people, I didn't see it coming. I didn't see any rumors about this potentially happening. I didn't hear any rumblings of it. I did see a report that the Broncos were the one team that didn't do anything in free agency, like literally nothing at all to this point. Well, apparently they were saving up for a big splashy move, and they did just that. Jalen Waddle, wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins, on his way to Denver. Denver is going to send its first-round pick in this year's draft, number 30 overall, along with the third and fourth-round picks, 94 and 130, to Miami in exchange for Jalen Waddle and a fourth-round pick, according to reports. So, again, we start talking about Jalen Waddle and what this looks like. Last year, 910 yards, 6 touchdowns, the former number 6 overall pick, obviously one of the faster players in the NFL. Now, he joins a wide receiver room that includes Cortland Sutton, who's been there for a minute, Pat Bryant, the young wide receiver, Troy Franklin, who's had his moments, and Marvin Mims. A definite upgrade, I would say, Charlie, when we start talking about that Broncos offense. Broncos were a lot closer than I thought people thought they were going to be at the start of last year as far as the run that they made. This might help them get over the hump a little bit there in a tough West.
I think so. I think this Broncos move that they've made here for a guy like Jalen Waddle, who I guess wasn't as much of a surprise to me when he got traded because they had moved on from Tyreek Hill, because they had moved on from all these other impact players on their roster. It felt like it made sense for them to eventually move on from a guy like Jalen Waddle, who they did just pay all that money to, but you don't want to have to pay all that money to. You're getting rid of all these other big contracts, as in a Tua Tagovailoa. This is just another one to move on from. And now all you really have is Devon Achane there in Miami, so you can focus that offense on that. And Malik Willis can kind of be a scapegoat type of quarterback down there. It kind of feels like a year where they just want to get as many picks as possible, be as bad as possible, kind of reset their franchise, hopefully doing kind of what I think the Bears did. And then for the Broncos' point of view, I think this is really important for them to go and try to take that next step. After being the 1 seed in the AFC last season, this is them saying, you know what, we didn't finish where we expected to, especially after the regular season ended. We want to take that next step, and the next logical step was adding more weaponry to help Bo Nix take that next step himself.
So you have that deal go down that I think was surprising. Then other news, the Philadelphia Eagles, who we're still waiting to see what's going to happen with A.J. Brown as far as if he's going to be in Philadelphia or not. They wasted no time. They go out and get Hollywood Brown, who was with the Kansas City Chiefs. So that is a deal. 1 year, could be worth up to $6.5 million. Now he goes with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. This could be a precursor, potentially maybe, to A.J. Brown being on the move, Charlie.
It could be, but Hollywood Brown isn't really that type of receiver in my mind. I think he's a guy who, if he's the only person within a passing offense, can then make impact plays. But when he is pushed down to the number 2 guy, when he's pushed down to a number 3 guy, he kind of disappears immediately from an offense. So if Devontae Adams is still there, or Devontae Smith, is still there, or an A.J. Brown, or even a Dallas Goedert to some degree, because you saw that in Kansas City towards the end of the season too with Travis Kelce and their tight end attack when they kind of forgot about Hollywood Brown despite him being healthy finally for that offense. You saw him take that back seat and then be pretty just even throughout the rest of the season, kind of zeros across the board. Yes, it's a trade where it improves that wide receiver depth, which Philadelphia needed. But I don't think it spells the end for a guy like A.J. Brown at all.
Yeah, and the other part about this too, that we start talking about what this is going to look like as far as wide receiver rooms go around the National Football League. A lot of times you have a younger quarterback and you're trying to get him kind of a stud quarterback, a stud wide receiver to play with. That's kind of what New England did last year. If you think about it, with Drake May, they went out and got Stephon Diggs. Now, did it work out the way they wanted? No. Now Diggs is out there and now he is available. The Buffalo Bills had Diggs for Josh Allen for a long time, and then they decided to move on from Stephon Diggs. The Green Bay Packers have not done that to this point with Jordan Love at all. They have surrounded him with a bunch of young guys and said, okay, you guys are all going to grow and learn together. My question now is, after seeing kind of the couple of the wide receiver moves that have happened today, would you want to see the Packers make a move for a veteran wide receiver? And if so, what type of receiver would you want to see them land their hands on at the end of the day? Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Of course, we are also always available the same way right there on social media at WI Sports Radio. You can find us whether it be on X, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. You pick it. You can find us there when we are live streaming like we do for most of our shows. I think when you talk about the Green Bay Packers, I don't think it's the worst idea in the world to go out and get a veteran wide receiver. Now, the issue that you obviously have in all of this is the same thing, which is you don't want to stunt the growth necessarily of your team, right? You don't want to stunt the growth of Matthew Golden, right? So if you go get a Stephon Diggs or something like that, and all of a sudden you're not playing Matthew Golden as much, now people are complaining that you took a first-round pick, you didn't play him last year, Romeo Doubs leaves, and now you're not going to give him a chance to play this year either. At the same point, because you have Christian Watson coming off of an injury, you have Tucker Kraft coming off of injury as well, you need to make sure you have a fallback plan in case one of those guys get hurt again. Watson's been hurt every year. Now, we haven't seen that with Tucker Kraft necessarily, but Musgrave is the second tight end. He's been hurt consistently as well. That's another injury concern that you have. Talk about the other wide receivers. Who else you got? Savion Williams. He was hurt last year. That was a third-round pick. Devontae Wicks. Dropsies. He is still in your wide receiver group too. Dobbs is a guy that was concussed a bunch, but seemingly didn't miss necessarily a ton of games while getting concussed a bunch of times. They have not gone that route yet. They went and got a proven pass rusher, which was great, in Micah Parsons. They got a proven safety in Xavier McKinney, which is wonderful. So they've done some of this as far as plugging holes and getting big impact veteran players. Brian Gutekunst to this point has decided not to make that big impact move for a wide receiver through trade or in free agency. And what was the one complaint? Well, probably a lot of complaints about Ted Thompson, but one of the main complaints about Ted Thompson was he never went for it at that wide receiver position. He never got Brett, that one guy that could put him over the top, like Randy Moss. That was the one guy that they thought they should have had. They never got. For Aaron Rodgers, he really didn't do it for Aaron Rodgers either, did Ted Thompson or Brian Gutekunst. Neither one of those guys were able to get that done for Aaron Rodgers. It's kind of been a thing. Now, if you go back before them, right now, Charlie's like, okay, now we're in the black and white days, Sparky.
Exactly.
But if you go back to Ron Wolf, what did he do? He went and got Andre Rison. And again, back then, no salary cap, so you can sign whoever. But he went and got Andre Rison. He went and got Keith Jackson. Now, I understand Reggie White recruited Keith Jackson to come play for him in Green Bay. But still, they went out and got a veteran presence to help what was already a good offense with Mark Chmura, but they added more pieces to put it over the top. We have not seen Brian Gutekunst to this point go for it at that wide receiver position. He's been patient and waiting on his young wide receivers to take that next step. But now might be the time. You've got money. You got $100 million in cap room next year. You can go make a splashy move here at wide receiver if you so choose. And I'm not saying it has to be A.J. Brown necessarily, but you can definitely go find somebody to help out. Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 677-1250. Wisconsin Sports Daily out here at Moe's Irish Pub in Wauwatosa on Highway 100. Thanks for tuning in today. If you're listening around the beautiful state of Wisconsin, Green Bay, and Appleton, maybe you're listening on WNFL, or in Wausau on 93.9 The Game, in Milwaukee on the Fan, 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, and of course in Duluth and Superior on 710 The Game. Thanks for listening today. Truly do appreciate it. Where are we going to? Ram next?
Ram on the north side. You are on Wisconsin Sports Daily.
What's up, Ram?
Hey, what's going on, Sparky? I agree with you. We got to do the round wolf. If you're saying we want to win now, we got to do that. You look at the A.J. Browns, I knew. You got to get even if your quarterback, he's not, I don't put Jordan Love as a superstar quarterback yet, but if he makes a bad throw, a guy that can come back and make a play in the playoff. Because if we had one guy like that against Chicago, we probably wouldn't have lost both of those games. And we don't have that. And somebody, just like that top 10 receiver type mantra that you have to win. Because it seems like teams that win, they got that. They got that. They got a guy that can make a play and win a game. And Green Bay, like you said, we got some receivers that are growing and so forth, but I don't think that's going to hurt nobody. What do you think?
Let me ask you this. We just talk about, if we forget about the A.J. Brown thing and making a move, because part of the problem here is for the Packers as far as making a move for a wide receiver in a trade is you don't have your own one this year. You don't have your own one next year, which leads you in a different position, which is having to maybe potentially go the free agent route like a Stephon Diggs.
Well, I mean, I'll say who's ever available on waivers, free agency, going after the draft that you can add to the team is not going to hurt the locker room. And you saying you want to win a Super Bowl, you got to have Super Bowl talent on the offensive side of the ball. I mean,
correct.
I mean, we got Josh Jacobs, but without that, he gets beat up because teams know we're going to run the ball. And that's not fair. I don't think that's fair to him. And you look at the number of drops. Weren't the Packers in the top 5 for drops?
I don't know where the Packers ended up this.
Especially after Kraft got hurt.
Let me see. I'll see what it looks like. I know the year before they were like the worst in football last year. I'll look and see what these numbers are. Ram, thanks for the call. I appreciate it.
Packers were third in the league according to StatMuse, behind the Bears and Cardinals.
Third best or third worst?
Third worst.
Third worst, right. So, and Dobbs is gone. And again, Wicks, I don't think really improved all that much necessarily at the end of the day. And that's the other thing we talk about is a person that can hold on to the football consistently when Jordan Love gets him the football. And you don't know whether or not Jordan Love has had private conversations behind the scenes with Matt LaFleur or Brian Gutekunst of, hey, man, I love my guys, but I really could use somebody that's got glue on their hands that isn't going to drop footballs. Like Matthew Golden, I'm a big Matthew Golden guy. He gets his chance at the end of the year. He drops 2 balls in the same game. I was like, oh, no. Oh, come on, man. Like, you haven't had balls thrown at you all year for the most part. Now because of guys sitting out and whatever, and the game not meaning much, now they play you, and then you blow that opportunity, Charlie.
And he redeemed himself later on in the playoff game against the Bears and had a phenomenal performance in that one. So I think part of that is just, like you said, he didn't get the ball thrown to him all year. And you get a little, jumpy, antsy when you get the ball thrown to you finally in that last game, way more often than you ever did the rest of the season. It gets to you a little bit. I understand that. With this whole idea of Ted Thompson not going out and getting Brett Favre, that wide receiver, Brian Gutekunst at the end of Aaron Rodgers' career, not keeping Devontae Adams around and all this stuff. I think the problem with those two guys is that they went and won the Super Bowls without those top-tier wide receivers or with the homegrown cast that they had with them already. I think both of the GMs then looked at that and said, you know what? It's hard to get wide receivers to want to stay here for the most part anyways because it's a cold place. It's a place that if you are playing in that second half of the season, you are less likely to boost your stats as if you were playing in a Miami or a Dallas or one of these other top-tier places with domes, something like that. It's just harder to have a consistent season in a place that is Lambeau Field and with the weather that happens in a place like Green Bay. And then signing those guys long-term, then that makes it hard. So if you want to make a big trade for a Jalen Waddle, a young wide receiver, or even an A.J. Brown, a guy who's been around and been this veteran in the league, you have to then extend them too or find ways to keep them around if you want them to grow with this very young team that is the Green Bay Packers that do have a Christian Watson and a Tucker Kraft that you eventually have to pay. I think there's a lot of other things around this that scare me away from wanting to trade for one of these top tier wide receivers and hoping first that Christian Watson can stay healthy for a majority of the season, that Tucker Kraft can stay healthy for a majority of the season. I think if we get into next year and both those guys are down again and this offense looks lackluster in the second half of the season again, then you can start having these more concerned type of conversations. But right now, I feel like this Green Bay Packers team, while they can be Super Bowl contenders, you don't need to automatically push yourself into that spot by trading away draft picks, trading away young players on your roster, and you still have 3 more years of Micah Parsons at least.
Exactly right. I got called up Spot Track here, Charlie, to look at available wide receivers, okay? Tyreek Hill, 32. Stephon Diggs, 32. Deebo Samuel, 30. Curtis Samuel, 29. Jawan Jennings, 28. DeAndre Hopkins, 33. Greg Dortch, 27. Now, that's a slot guy from the Cardinals. Noah Brown, 30. Keenan Allen, 33, almost 34. Nick Westbrook, Jahan Dotson, Kadrell Hodge, Josh Reynolds, Tim Patrick, Zay Jones, Hunter Renfrow, Tylan Wallace. Any of those guys do anything for you? That's the question. Like, do any of those guys work and make sense for you as far as who could come in here and essentially put them over the top and get them to the next level? And I think when you look at this list, Tyreek Hill, obviously, as we've talked about in the past, could be a guy that could make sense. But the problem is, can you count on him not to be an off-the-field distraction? Can you count on him to do what you ask him to do on the football field? That is a game stretcher that they only have right now in Christian Watson at this point, in particular, and maybe Matthew Golden, if they were to play Matthew Golden at this point. Stephon Diggs, definitely not the player that he was, probably half step slower. Deebo Samuel has never been that guy. Deebo Samuel, more of a physical type of wide receiver that can break, plays and, after the catch, which the Green Bay Packers love. Obviously, at the end of the day, I'm just not so certain it puts him over the top. Looking at this list, I think the only guy that potentially puts you over is Tyreek Hill from a free agent perspective, probably. And then from a trade perspective, who knows who is actually available out there. A.J. Brown is the one guy that has been brought up. Would I get down with A.J. Brown? Sure. But I have a feeling the reason that he fell out of favor in Philly is maybe he's just having issues getting open. Maybe he's just lost a half a step. Maybe that's more a thing than anything else, Charlie.
It could be. And I think a guy like A.J. Brown throughout his career, who has been such a physical wide receiver, who hasn't missed a whole lot of games, you can start seeing that wear and tear on the body. You saw with DeAndre Hopkins, another name that you mentioned towards the end of his career. When you play so often and are so focused on within an offense, you just get beat down faster with that type of game plan.
No question about it. All right, take a quick time out. Come back on the other side. We're going to switch gears to college basketball and the Wisconsin Badgers. There's some rumblings out there from multiple national people that do national TV that are saying the Badgers are a dark horse for the Final Four this year. Are you seeing it? Are you buying that this team could get on a run to the Final Four? Most people locally here, I think, are picking like Sweet 16 and it's over against Arizona. Maybe you have something different in your bracket. Nicolay Law Talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook at Moe's Irish Pub in Wauwatosa, right here on Highway 100. Welcome back. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Moe's Irish Pub right here in Wauwatosa, Highway 100. Come on out, stop out. Lots of green being worn, lots of corned beef being ate. Our promotions guy, Caleb, has the biggest pretzel ever that he's engaged in currently eating right now. Lots of people out here hanging out. Come on out, say hi. Got music playing. They had bagpipes earlier today, Irish dancers. I mean, if you name it, they've got it going on here at Moe's Irish Pub. And this goes all day and into the night. Some of the different things they've got going on here right now, I've got it in front of me. They had breakfast going on this morning from 8 to 11, which was very cool. And then they got their abbreviated schedule rolling for today. That Milwaukee pretzel from the Milwaukee Pretzel Company is what our guy Caleb is eating. But they got the Reuben that you were talking about loving there, Charlie. They got the fish and chips going on. They've got the corned beef and cabbage deal. Moe's very own slow-cooked corned beef served with Irish potatoes, green cabbage, carrots, and creamy horseradish sauce. That is something as well. They still have my pot roast on here, which that is one of my favorites. And the triple grilled cheese that I like, too, with tomato soup is also on there, too. So lots and lots of good stuff to drink. And then, of course, all kinds of beverages you can have, too, while you are here. I said before the break, we wanted to get into the Badgers a little bit. Charlie notified me that we didn't get to a caller or two there before the break, and that is my fault. So I'll take blame for that one. Let's go to Zach in Sheboygan. You are next on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line. What's up, Zach?
Hey, Sparky. One of my things, and I'll try to make this really quick, is that, go all in, right? Well, we went and got Parsons. But then before that, think about all the times the really good teams we had that we actually should have won the big game. And some of that came down to Aaron Rodgers. I understand that. But when we didn't go out and get the big name, look where we were. 2014 championship game. Probably should have won that game. 2012 against San Fran. We probably were a better team. We didn't do it. 2007 against the Giants. Probably a better team. Failed at the end. You know what I mean? So I think both the GMs have been putting us in very good positions. We just haven't won it, So it makes you try to press the issue, but I don't even know if it should. You know what I mean? That's all, Sparky. I just wanted to throw that out there at you, and I'll hang up and listen to you offside.
Zach, I appreciate it. Thanks for the call. This is the thing. So you go back and you look at these heartbreaking losses, right? Brandon Bostic jumping up for an onside kick against the Seahawks in 2014. Most gut-wrenching loss of my lifetime. And then fumbling that ball. And he was told, don't go for the ball. We don't want you going for the ball. And he still went for the ball. Now, again, you can say being mad at Mike McCarthy for being too conservative and all this other stuff, or for the interception that happens and Julius Peppers is telling the dude to get down, which, again, I agreed with. If I was Julius Peppers, I would have told that dude to get down too on the interception. That is something else that happened. You play the Buccaneers. Tom Brady throws 3 interceptions in the first half of the football game, and you don't have David Bakhtiari, and you end up losing that football game to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Again, lots of different things that occurred here where you can't pinpoint and go, yep, it's been coaching the whole time. Like, there's been all kinds of different situations that have occurred to stop you from going back to another Super Bowl along the way here between Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. My only point is that they have not made that big impact, go-for-it wide receiver move to help out. Favre, they never did it. They never did it for Aaron Rodgers. And now here we are with Jordan Love, who's had even less experience, I would say, than the rest of them have had throughout the course of time. And he really could potentially use one here. I mean, again, if they go A.J. Brown, it's A.J. Brown, Christian Watson, and Matthew Golden. That's a lot better than Christian Watson, Matthew Golden, and Dontavian Wicks, or Sky Moore, or Xavion Williams as your 3. No matter which way you look at it, that's better. That puts more of the fear of God into the opposing defense. That's really kind of pushing in. And again, I'm not saying A.J. Brown is prime A.J. Brown. Probably not. But he's better than the other options that you have right now. Let's go to Jeff in Superior. You're next on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line here on Wisconsin Sports Daily with me, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. Jeff, you're listening to the game up there in Superior. Thanks for tuning us in, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, 710 WDSM, you bet. So happy St. Patrick's Day to you guys. I hope you're enjoying it. I want to make
I'd be enjoying it more if I could be drinking right now, Jeff, but I can't drink while I'm on the radio, so I can't enjoy it as much as I'd like. But go ahead.
Yeah, I'm actually an Irishman. My ancestors came from Ireland, And I attended the University of Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, and I saw some pretty good football in my time there. So I want to make a comment and then ask a question. Now, this fall, the University of Notre Dame will play the University of Wisconsin at Lambeau Field. I think it's like the first game of the season or something like that.
Correct. Yep.
And I say that because I believe, and this is my opinion, I'm a Packer shareholder, and I wonder if you agree, when we talk about players that play for the Green Bay Packers, are we looking for longevity? Are we looking for players who want to be in the Hall of Fame, who want to be part of the Green Bay Packer mystique? I say that because I think Paul Hornung, a Notre Dame Green Bay Packer guy, that was a guy who played for Green Bay because he wanted to play for Green Bay. When you look at your football career, you can plan long term because you have the character and the ability to contribute to the Packers. Does that matter anymore?
I think when we start talking about the Packer way, don't hang up on Jeff. When we start talking about the Packer way and character and what if that matters one way or the other, I don't know, man. Like, you can go back to Corin Robinson. Remember Corin Robinson, the wide receiver? He was in drug and alcohol rehab, and they still signed him. And they were there for him when he got out, and he came and played for the Green Bay Packers. You had Johnny Jolly, who had his potential issues with the purple syrup back in the day as well. So they've had different guys that have had their issues along the way, whether it be on the field or off the field and so forth. Quay Walker, remember Quay Walker? Back when he first got here, having all those personal foul penalties and people losing their minds about Quay Walker. And then because of the Packer way, they kind of made him more mild-mannered. And then what became the issue after that? Oh, we need some nasty guys out of here. Well, you had a nasty guy, and you tamed him like a poodle. And then are wondering why you don't have more nasty guys. So Zaire Franklin, is he that guy? He's going to get personal fouls. He did for 7 years in Indianapolis. I'm telling you right now, he's going to get personal fouls here. Now, from the character of the guy, and I'm assuming he's talking about A.J. Brown here as far as him or Tyreek Hill with all of his off-the-field issues and whether or not that matters. Only Brian Gutekunst and Ed Policy can answer that, Jeff. Does it matter to you?
Yes, it does. And I'll say that because I'm willing to sacrifice, and I know people don't agree, but I'm willing to sacrifice a winning season if I got players that really put the Packers first and, embrace the community and play well and have the talent. I mean, I think we would win more if we had stronger players that had more of a commitment instead of using the Packers to make money. I'm sorry.
No, you didn't know the reason to be sorry. I think a lot of people are with you on that. Thanks for the call, Jeff. I appreciate it. I don't ever apologize for a take. Like, let's not get in the habit of apologizing for takes.
Having your own takes, yeah.
Right, man. Have your opinion, stick with it, back it up. Doesn't mean everybody's going to agree with you, but again, this goes. And again, we're going to get sidetracked here. This goes back to morals and all the other stuff, right? And everybody is different. And I hate to break it to everybody, but college sports, they threw theirs out the window. Theirs is long gone. But the NIL and everything else that's going on, those are gone. They have gotten rid of it. And you talk about pro sports, same type of deal. Like Rami Makloff
is in right now.
Right. NBA and the Clippers, that's a complete disaster. But when you say Rami Makloff, my guy, I love Rami. I've been friends with Rami for 100 years. Rami Makloff, for as long as I've known him, has said the same thing. He doesn't care about any of it. He don't care. If they're not in jail on Sunday, they can play for me. Like, he just wants the best players he can get. He doesn't care about any of that stuff. Now, I'm not to that level crazy. Like, I'm not there on that. But, I mean, if you go back to, who was it, Ruben Patterson of the Bucks, he was a registered sex offender. When he played for, he had to register when he played in a city or whatever the case may be. And he was on the Bucks. And there was a lot of upheaval and uproar about that whole deal when he was a part of the Bucks, and people were critical of the organization that they went through that whole thing. So, again, I don't know which way Gutekunst is going to go. And I don't know where Ed Policy stands on this either. I mean, Ed Policy was with Carmen Policy is his dad, right, in San Francisco. Go Google Eddie DeBartolo and some of the stuff that was going on with Eddie DeBartolo at the end. I mean, so again, Everybody is a little bit different on how they view this. But at the end of the day, greed wins. That's normally what happens with most people. We talked about this yesterday. We talked about it from a financial aspect and how your life changes. But at the end of the day, if Brian Gutekunst is told, win a Super Bowl or you're out, maybe Tyreek Hill is a Packer. But again, when you make that type of move, Ed Policy must sign off on it. If you trade for A.J. Brown, Ed Policy has to sign off on it before you're allowed to go do something major like that, Charlie.
Definitely. And I think yesterday, what we heard from the Green Bay Packers, what we heard from Ed Policy is that the franchise that was pushing off that greed, staving off that greed for as long as possible, is starting to kind of let it leak in a little bit, talking about the naming rights of the stadium, talking about all these different ways to make more money for a franchise that is already still making billions of dollars, despite pushing off all the things that have made all these other teams those billions of dollars. So you're seeing it start to creep into all the places that I think a lot of people thought were sanctified. Again, like Lambeau Field, like the Green Bay Packers. That's just how the business of sports has started to move. The Packers will continue to do their things in order to keep themselves as loyal to their initial plan that they had when they built the franchise, when Curly Lambeau built the franchise and Bart Starr built the franchise. At the same time, you have to move with the times or you are going to die with the times.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to cost people jobs. That's what it comes down to. Going back to what Jeff said in Superior, thanks for listening on the game again. I think a lot of people are with you that, okay, we may not win as much, but at least we're going to have good dudes, good character people doing their thing. For the longest time at Marquette, that's how that was, right? They didn't want JUCO kids. They didn't want to go through any of that. Tom Crean couldn't just run and get JUCO kids and do what he wanted. But what happened? Buzz Williams came in and they moved the line. And he was able to go get JUCO kids and do things differently with Buzz than they were ever allowed to do with Tom Crean. Why is that? Because they needed to move the line to keep up with the times to be able to get the people in. We don't want the transfer portal, Shaka Smart said. We're going to do it the old-fashioned way. Cool. Bad year. Guess who's going to use the transfer portal now? Shaka Smart, right? Because he wants to keep his job, right? They got to win. So, yeah, I mean, you could say that you're disappointed with a lot of things and what's going on in the world right now based on greed and everything else that comes along with it, and I probably wouldn't necessarily disagree with you at all. Coming up next, we are going to try number 2 to get to that Badgers topic because there are a couple of national people that do TV that are saying that one of their dark horses to be a Final Four team this year are the Wisconsin Badgers. Do you see it? You live here. You live in the state, or maybe you're screaming us as well. But either way, you know Badger basketball. Are you seeing them as a potential Final Four team like some of these national guys are? We'll talk about that straight ahead. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook here at Moe's Irish Pub in Wauwatosa on Highway 100. Come on out and have a good time. Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. We're out here at Moe's Irish Pub in Wauwatosa here in southeastern Wisconsin, listening to the Fan or coming down to this area, whether it's between 2 and 5 while I'm here. Fine, cool. Come say hi. Love to see you. Or whether it's coming down later and you come check out some music going on here at Moe's Irish Pub. This is the place to be. This place is packed right now, but always got room for you. Hang out for a few minutes. Table open up and come sit down and enjoy yourself. Again, they've got the corned beef and cabbage going on. They've got my pot roast that I love. They've got the Reuben happening as well. Fish and chips going on. That Milwaukee pretzel from the Milwaukee Pretzel Company looks delicious. That Caleb just ate from our promotions department who set all this up for us. So him and Will did a great job setting it up. Do appreciate those guys. Let's talk about the Wisconsin Badgers now. Emeka Okafor, who used to be an NBA player. He's a pretty good NBA player for a couple of minutes, if you remember correctly, a big in the NBA. He is doing some basketball coverage for CBS, and him and Wally Zerbiak got into talking about, the Wisconsin Badgers.
If you told me if Wisconsin ends up being a Final Four team, it wouldn't surprise me. Like Wisconsin kind of this year reminds me of like of Michigan State Tom Izzo teams where you can just never quite, count them out. They're tough. They just find ways to win. And this one in particular, like Wally said, they beat Illinois twice, Purdue, Michigan State. They beat them all. Yep. So that's in you. Once you've done it, you believe in yourself. So the tournament is all about confidence and swag. And I think that Wisconsin has a lot of that people aren't quite taking note of.
When I heard that, I was like, whoa, okay, this is good. I mean, a little national respect for the Badgers. I feel good about this. Then I'm on social media. I saved that clip because I was like, oh, we got to get Charlie to play this. Then I keep going. Andy Katz. Now, again, Andy Katz, worked in Appleton, been here in Wisconsin, all that stuff, Wisconsin guy. Andy Katz has the Badgers as a dark horse Final Four guy. Now, Andy Katz, who was on ESPN for a long time, Big Ten Network, all of that, is not a guy that's just going to throw Wisconsin out every year because he's a Wisconsin guy necessarily. That's not how that necessarily is going to work. But he did this year. People falling in love, it feels like, a little bit. And I think people have got memories of the Badgers beating Arizona a time or two in the NCAA tournament, and that's who they're going to get in the Sweet 16 if they get that far. And again, Arizona can't get upset, all that fun stuff. But providing the bracket plays out the way it should, it very well could be Arizona. And as many people have stated, they think the Badgers could give Arizona a pretty good fight if they were to get to the Sweet 16, Charlie.
I believe it. I think most people are more afraid of High Point University than Arkansas or Arizona moving forward here the Wisconsin Badgers. I'm not either. But I think the way that the Badgers have played, and you heard Emeka Okafor talk about it in that clip, they're just giant killers. They go out there and beat the teams that are supposed to be better than them. And it's truly the teams that haven't been as good as them this season, the Oregons, the Iowas, the Washingtons, that have given them more fits, more problems. As long as this Badgers team is healthy, though, and as long as they have all of their top pieces moving on the same kind of game plan, you can win every game. Any game that comes in front of you. The problem is the moment that Nick Boyd maybe has a bad game or John Blackwell has a bad game or you don't have a Nolan Winter out there while one of those guys is having a bad game, that's where the problems start to arise for this Wisconsin Badgers team and can throw them out of that rhythm. So when you are going into a game against a team like High Point University, I think it's important for this Badgers team to go out there and state that they're here for business right away and take down High Point University easily. I think you have to move on to Arkansas and say, Darius Acuff, we get it. You're one of the best guards in this year's draft. But Nick Boyd and John Blackwell are one of the best duos in college basketball right now, and you have to respect that and keep moving forward and show that you do have that talent. You do have this power on this team to be able to take down anybody in front of you like you've done all season.
Right. And, the other part about this, too, is about the NCAA tournament. And we talked about this yesterday a little bit about Frank Kaminsky complaining that the NCAA tournament committee doesn't like them and everybody's against the Badgers and it's us against the world. Oh, that's okay, fine. But my thing is, to a certain degree, you have to beat everybody in front of you like we talked about. And the question on the table, before I forget to ask the question on the table, is about the Badgers. Are you seeing the Badgers as a potential Final Four team? Wally Zerbiak and Emeka Okafor talked about it, two former NBA players. Okafor says, yes, he sees him as one of those guys. Andy Katz, national basketball TV person and writer, he says, yes, Badgers is potential Final Four team. Do you see it? Nicolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250, and streaming live on X and on YouTube at WI Sports Radio. But again, we start talking about the tournament bracket and so forth. While you do have to win everything in front of you, a little bit of it potentially could be luck as far as how you make that run, right? I mean, if you're going to make a George Mason-like run from years ago to that Final Four, sometimes it helps to get a monster knocked out before you get to them. And now all of a sudden it's two double-digit seeds playing each other versus a double-digit seed playing a 1 seed or a 2 seed or something like that. And you catch some breaks that make your path and road a little bit easier. It would be nice if the Badgers could catch a break or two, because Greg Gard desperately needs some type of run here to kind of get people off of his back. Not that he's in any danger of being fired, because he's not. They're not firing him like I talked about the other day. But if he got a couple of breaks, that would be good. I worry more about Arkansas, mainly because, as we've talked about, they got a great coach, a proven coach in Calipari that's been in this thing, that's won in this thing. That is the thing that scares me. They've got immense amount of talent, as does Arizona. I'm trying to slight Arizona, but the job that Calipari has done over the course of time leads me to believe that that's going to be a tougher deal. Now, the one thing that makes me feel better about Calipari, his teams aren't the most disciplined at the end of the day. I mean, if you go back and watch some of those Kentucky games or UMass games with Marcus Camby and those guys, they're not necessarily some of the most disciplined or basketball IQ smart teams that you remember. It's a lot of go play from Calipari, giving a bunch of freedom. And then in certain moments, yeah, he'll draw something up. But for the most part, he gives it a lot of freedom to play the way they want. And that's why everybody wants to play for him, because you get the freedom to go play the way you want. It's not a head coach calling every single play every time down the floor and slowing things down. That's not Calipari's style. And the other thing about Calipari is their defenses, his defenses, can lack for periods of time in basketball games. That's been a constant with John Calipari's teams over the course of time. What you have to avoid if you're Wisconsin is not going cold. You can't go cold for 3 to 5 minutes probably against Arkansas and then still expect to win the basketball game. You've got to be consistent throughout the game. That will be a game of runs. And when you get to Arizona, if you get to Arizona, then it becomes, okay, now you need 3 guys to get 20 plus. You need 3. Whether that's Winter and the backcourt, fine. Whether that's the backcourt and Austin Rapp, okay. Whether Rhodey shows up and has a game of his life in a game, fine. But they're probably going to need 3 guys to score 20 or more if you get to a game against Arizona or any of the other big teams that we talk about going along the way. And your defense has to play with good intensity level, be fundamentally sound in those basketball games, and not have lapses themselves mentally where they kind of check out, Charlie.
Well, and this doesn't feel like the Marquette team from last year, where until the end of the season, you thought you only really kind of had Cam Jones and everybody else was the supporting players. Right. And you had a couple other players come out at the end of the season and have that breakout moment. This Badgers team, you've had 3 to 4 guys doing it all season long that I think you can trust and have that faith going up against some of these tougher opponents in Arkansas and Arizona, that you can get 3 guys to score 20 points for you potentially in any of these games, and that Greg Gard can get that type of energy from his team. I'm really excited to watch this Badgers team this year. I feel like a 5 seed, not that I think Frank Kaminsky was right that the committee is disrespectful or anything, but I thought maybe they could jump to a 4 seed instead of being that 5 seed that was predicted. I feel like this is a squad that's better than a lot of people are giving them credit for, and I think the national media is starting to get on that train.
You look at the rest of that West bracket. Arizona would have to get by Villanova or Utah State. I do not think Villanova is a lock to beat Utah State, by the way.
Utah State, the coach was mad where he was seated.
Yep, I think Villanova could lose that game. I'm not sold on Villanova. So regardless, one of those teams win. Then it's Arizona, probably beats whoever they get. Wisconsin, Arkansas is going to be a tough game. Then it's Wisconsin, Arizona. On the bottom half of that bracket, you got Devon State down there going against the winner of Texas, North Carolina State coming up tonight. You have Gonzaga and Kennesaw State, Miami and Missouri, Purdue, and Queens in the Carolinas, not in New York. I mean, there's a chance it could be Wisconsin Gonzaga, Wisconsin Purdue, if they were to get by Arizona for that chance to try and still get to the Final Four. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Up next, let's talk about the Crew, baby. What a game it was yesterday. Time for your fan weather forecast right now at 23 degrees and fair skies outside right now. A low of 19, a real feel of 12 degrees. Integrity Exteriors.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome in as we broadcast live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook out here at Moe's Irish Pub in Wauwatosa on Highway 100. People that are hanging out here are some cruel people. You know what they want me to do?
What's that?
They want me to call out like fake names for tables and see if we can get anybody to be suckered into getting to us to not have a table.
That's not that mean. It's a little St. Patrick's Day prank. Aren't leprechauns like pranksters and stuff? You're kind of like a leprechaun. He can't turn my mic off. It's awesome.
Glad you crack yourself up. Aren't you funny? And, you know, the funny thing is that one of my buddies who's out in Colorado now, I saw the video. Josh Aubrey was out here earlier and posted a social media video of me out here at Moe's Irish Pub before the show started. And he hasn't seen me in a while, so he sees the video, sees that I have gray hair. He's like, "Oh, love the gray hair." It's like, "Yeah, I don't love the gray hair. No, I do not." Let's talk about what is going on with the latest with the Crew.
It's time to talk about the Crew. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, so a couple different things here. I want to talk about what happened in yesterday's Brewers game, but I also want to talk about an article that just came out here this afternoon from Tom Dakin from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. American Family Field adding event space for both games and the offseason. A new 20,000 square foot hospitality area is planned for the exterior of American Family Field, right on the exterior on the first base side, opening early this year, which is pretty cool, obviously. Plus, they've got a bunch of other stuff going on as well. Now, again, another fan-focused area planned near the home plate entrance would serve as an event space for certain season ticket holders. That also is in the process of happening. Work is to begin this year on the stadium's winterization, allowing it to host off-season concerts and other events that could be completed by the end of the 2027 baseball season. Also, construction starts soon on a public plaza featuring a beer garden. That's going to be built behind the outfield near the pedestrian bridge over Wisconsin, Highway 175 and Brewers Boulevard. That's going to open later this summer. I mean, you want to talk about, again, we were talking about the Packers yesterday about, hey, man, like they might have to sell naming rights for the stadium. They may have to sell naming rights for the practice facility. They may have to sell naming rights for Titletown District, all of that stuff, right? And here are the Milwaukee Brewers and Rich Schlesinger going, hey, we got it, right? And again, part of this is being covered by the $500 million public fund for Anfield's long-term renovations and improvements created back in 23. But still consistently pushing the envelope, Charlie, consistently trying to figure out how to make that a destination, and not just a destination just during Brewers games, but trying to figure out how to make it a destination even more so when the Brewers maybe aren't even playing at this point. There was talk of A miniature golf course, I think, is put out near that beer garden area as well. Now all of a sudden, you've got a beer garden outside. You've got a miniature golf course outside of American Family Field. During the summertime when the Brewers aren't playing, you still will have families out there, providing it's a really good golf course. You'll have families outside playing mini golf, taking advantage of the beer garden. If you have some of those pop-up type deals outside, selling Brewers merchandise and stuff like that, now all of a sudden, people aren't going to forget about you. The one thing that has really been an issue over the course of the years for the Brewers is keeping that restaurant busy, whether it was TGI Fridays or all the other different inceptions that they've done there. Now they've made it into like a German restaurant at American Family Field. And part of that reason is that when the season's over, people forget about it and they just don't go. And that is something that they've got to figure out. They've got that X Golf in there now, and they're utilizing that to try to be a year-round destination type deal, including during Brewers games. Now the next part of this becomes the winterization, obviously, is a big thing, but then during the summer, the outside space and making that a bigger deal.
100%. And I think that mini golf course is going to be a lot of fun. I love mini golf. I'm sure I'm going to find myself out there a few times. The beer garden's a great idea. And then the winterization for the stadium to help have those concerts at AmFam Field is a huge thing. That's kind of the new big thing with these music artists is playing at the baseball stadiums. One of my favorite artists, Noah Khan, is doing a whole tour through baseball stadiums.
Who?
Noah Khan. You've never heard of Noah Khan?
Noah Khan. Oh, look, just keep talking.
Well, he's doing his next tour is through a whole bunch of baseball stadiums, and he skips over AmFam Field. So he goes like Wrigley Field. He's going to be at Target Field, but not at AmFam. And I was kind of disappointed by that. Not that I could afford the tickets to the concert anyways, but just the fact that a lot of these other stadiums feel like they've already taken these next steps to get to this point. Again, kind of feels like AmFam Field was a little behind. It's cool seeing them start to add a lot of these other stuff to make it, like you said, a destination year-round. It's one of my favorite places, a place that I grew up at. I would love to spend every day there if I could, and sometimes it feels like you can't, unlike some other stadiums in the league.
Two things. One, Noah Khan looks like our promotions guy, Will. That's the first thing.
Okay.
The second thing is, my God, man, who is paying these type of ticket prices?
Right.
Are you out of your mind?
Well,
he's coming to Wrigley Field in July. Tickets start at $269. Now, again, I'm on Google.
Cheap on that.
Orlando, Florida. Tickets start at $531. Tickets start at $426. I don't care who you are. I'm not paying $400 to see anybody. If Elvis came back from the dead, I'm not spending $400 to see Elvis.
Well, and I think that's fair. I wouldn't pay for those ticket prices either. I love Noah Khan, and there's no shot. But he's like one of the bigger artists in music right now, and that's the low end of ticket prices for some of these people. Taylor Swift, her tickets were going for thousands of dollars.
No chance. Like we were going to go see Elton John at Fiserv Forum on his final tour or whatever, and those tickets were like $300 in the upper deck. And we're like, yep, guess we're not going to see Elton John. We're done with that one. Okay, so back to the Brewers. That is what we're talking about here. The Brewers yesterday, I don't know if you saw this, the Brewers scored 24 runs yesterday. And I know, big deal. It's spring training. Who cares? I care. You know how hard it is to score 24 runs? I don't care who the pitchers are on the other team or anything else. Do you know who started the game for the Dodgers? Tyler Glasnow. He's pretty good. 4 1/3, gave up 3 runs, a walk, and did strike out 6, but they got him. Rosario came in after him. And again, German Rosario, 23-year-old, he comes in after him. They absolutely torched this dude for 5 runs, all earned. The next guy comes in, Blake Trinan. He's been in the big leagues for a while, right? He got 2 outs, gave up 2 runs, both earned, including a home run. Then this guy Dreyer came in. He gave up 5 runs. Then Ramirez came in. He gave up 4. Then Wet, I think is his name, minor leaguer. He gave up 5 runs. I mean, they absolutely destroyed him. On the Brewers side of things, Chad Patrick, not so good, my friend. Not so good. 3 1/3, 5 hits, 6 runs, all earned, 4 walks, and 2 strikeouts, including 2 home runs given up. Max Muncy, I should say, got him. Teoscar Hernandez also got him. Those are the only 2 homers on the day for the Los Angeles Dodgers, who scored 9 runs themselves. 9.72 spring ERA for Chad Patrick, who got the win after giving up 6 runs. Think about that. He gave up 6 runs and got the win, Charlie.
I mean, it's kind of hard to imagine him in that starting rotation right now. If that's how, like, uneventful his spring training is, It's just hard to. I know he's in, but if Brandon Woodruff was in this rotation for sure to start the season, which you still don't
He's still in.
I don't know.
Yeah.
With the way,
Yeah.
with the news with Henderson, I think he has a shot to be in that rotation. I think the way Kyle Harrison, despite his last game being a little bit of a blunder as well, has pitched well enough to be a part of this rotation.
Yeah.
Aaron Ashby keeps getting talked about by Pat Murphy.
Yuck.
You have all these other players that are getting better looks right now than you are getting from a Chad Patrick.
Yeah, no, no, I'm not a fan of that. And we'll talk more about Aaron Ashby as we go either today or tomorrow. But no, Chad Patrick's in. And again, I hesitate to get all excited about this because it's spring training. Who knows what he's working on? Maybe he did have an off day. Maybe we should be concerned. I'm not there yet. But if you look at this lineup yesterday, Rengifo was 2 for 4 of the runs scored. Okay. Mike Bovee, who's been down in the minor leagues and hasn't done much so far in the spring, he had a couple of RBIs in this game. Home runs. Lockridge, who Pat Murphy says is in the running to be on this opening day roster, he had a grand slam in this game. So that was nice to see. Sanchez had a hit. Tyler Black had a hit and 3 RBIs. He was 1 for 5 with a couple of runs scored. Is Tyler Black going to be on this roster?
He might be. I mean, I don't think so just because David Hamilton is getting so much love from a guy like Pat Murphy and has had an okay spring as well. So I think he gives the guy who's been a little bit more of a veteran in the league that opportunity and that extra infield spot. I just don't know if you're going to keep a guy like Lockridge in the outfield if you have room for a Tyler Black too.
We also have to talk about Jet Williams, who is going to be in AAA. 2 for 3, a run scored, an RBI, a walk. He had 417 this spring so far with a 563 slugging, or 563 on base, and a slugging percentage of 750 for Jet Williams. And I reached out to Eric Cross from Rotoballer, and he made his predictions, his bold predictions, whatever you want to call it, earlier today on X. And the reason I reached out to Eric Cross was for the Brewers, he put down 15 home runs and 25 stolen bases for Jet Williams. If Jet Williams does that, you don't have to worry about production coming from Rengifo or anybody else at third base, because that is more than good enough in my mind if Jet Williams does that throughout the course of this season.
100%. I would be ecstatic if Jet Williams can go out there and do that and have that type of production. But Rengifo has had a really good spring too. I think you got to give him that shot at the beginning of the season like we've talked about. Jet Williams, to start in AAA, is going to be hard to get that type of stat line. But I could also see it happening if you can bring him in just a quarter way into the season, if that's where you feel like, injuries are starting to pile up, which is a possibility with this Brewers team. You've seen that in the past, especially in the outfield where people were talking about potentially putting him. I think you could get to that type of production because you've seen that from guys like Caleb Durbin, who aren't as big of a prospect. You've seen that from guys not to the same exact level, but Joey Ortiz in his first season with this Milwaukee Brewers team be able to come in and be a productive player right away. And Jet Williams is a bigger prospect than both of those two guys, should be able to have bigger numbers and bigger production. You get him into this lineup in the same kind of spot that those two guys are, I think you can see a huge boost to the Milwaukee Brewers offense from a guy like Jet Williams.
Another cool story from yesterday, Brady Ebel, whose dad is a coach for the Dodgers, hit his first home run in a Brewers uniform in spring training. So that was another cool moment for the Milwaukee Brewers. Ebel on the day, 1 for 2, 3 runs scored, a RBI, a home run, and a walk for Brady Ebel. Now, again, he hasn't had much playing time in the at the big league level as far as in spring training, so nothing to get too worked up about here. But the other guy, Brock Wilken, is a guy that I think have all eyes on here, because with Andrew Fisher coming, and Team Italy officially eliminated last night, and another base hit last night for Andrew Fisher, had a walk in the game. Fisher did his thing, but with Brock Wilken going 0 for 2, he is hitting a $190 in spring training, 320 OPS, 333 slugging. As we talked about before, he is playing to not get leapfrogged by Andrew Fisher when the season starts.
Not only leapfrogged, but with all the other players that are in this minor league system that are infielders. We just talked about Jet Williams, who could play basically anywhere in the infield for you. Jesus Madej, you have Luis Pena still. You're in threatening territory to be traded potentially if the Brewers feel like they need something at the trade deadline. If other teams feel like they need a third baseman to come into their lineup, especially for a young team in the next 2 years, you could be moved to Las Vegas and play for the A's instead, which may not be as bad of not that bad of a situation, but it's not the Milwaukee Brewers. It's not being a part of this organization that has been able to develop great players and figure out how to get the best out of you. And if there's 4 other guys that they feel like they can get the best out of before you, that's a problem.
A couple other positives from the Brewers pitching staff yesterday. McGill and Canning both pitched 1 inning of scoreless relief, both with 3 strikeouts in their 1 inning. We were talking about this the other day about the World Baseball Classic and how they can reset here and add arms or do what they want to do. Why not go get a McGill? Like, I understand the Mizorowski thing or whatever else, but you're telling me they couldn't use a hard thrower like McGill late in a game coming up against Venezuela here tonight?
Well, they could, but also they're getting a lot of other talent back. Mason Miller is a guy that they just got from the San Diego Padres. It was expected to pitch tonight for Team USA. That's that type of player they're looking for. If you can
I don't think he is. But I don't think he is available, and I don't think Bednar is available either.
This is Bob Nightingale. San Diego Padres closer Mason Miller is indeed available tonight for the championship game against Venezuela.
They better hope he doesn't do something to his arm.
But that's why you don't want a McGill out there. We talked about this with Mizorowski yesterday.
No, but I wouldn't have pitched McGill in the spring training game yesterday if I knew McGill had a chance to pitch today. Obviously, he doesn't pitch. But when you're saying the entire time Mason Miller's not pitching, now day of, you know what happened, Charlie? Mason Miller walked in there and said, I'm pitching. I'm pitching. If we have a chance to win this thing, I'm pitching. And they said, okay, dude. DeRosa said, all right, sounds good. DeRosa's got no affiliation with any Major League Baseball team. He's going to go back and sit in a TV studio when this is done.
Well, and Craig Stammen, the manager for the Padres, has been in front of the media for the past couple hours talking about the situation, and he says they have a say in this, that they're allowing him to do this to some degree, and that if Team USA and Mark DeRosa want Mason Miller to be a part of that squad, that they are going to let him go out there and play. So, yes, Mason Miller probably came in and said, yeah, I want to pitch, but I think to some degree it still is partly the Padres' decision.
While we were talking, I just got an email from the Brewers. The Milwaukee Brewers today announced that a limited number of tickets have been released for several highly anticipated early season games, including opening day versus the White Sox next Thursday, as well as opening weekend matchups on Saturday and Sunday of next weekend. Approximately 1,000 tickets have been released for opening day, reflecting seats that were previously team holds, giving fans a chance to be a part of Milwaukee's most celebrated annual traditions. In addition to opening day, new ticket allotments have also been made available for the games on the 28th and 29th, offering even more opportunities for fans to join the excitement for this season. So if you don't have tickets for opening day and you want to go, just go to brewers.com/tickets, brewers.com/tickets to take advantage of the new 1,000 opening day tickets that were made available by the Milwaukee Brewers. Very cool thing there. Pat Murphy talked a little bit yesterday after that onslaught that the Brewers had, scoring 24 runs.
Baseball will give you every scenario you can ask for.
How about back-to-back days like this?
Like I said, only in the Cactus League.
That reminds you of the Sunday Pac-12, Pac-10 showdown?
I don't really remember. That was a long time ago, but yeah, I've been part of a lot of long games. But, yeah,
Murph, some of the work you did was against their main guys, the at-bats. Do you take anything away
there was
from?
Good and bad in every game. There's good and bad to take away, and guys that are hungry, guys that are trying to get results, guys that are on the wrong page, guys that are on the right page. So, I mean, it's an eclectic combination of, scenarios. So you don't read in too much to the results, and you don't read into, you just try to see where the guy's at, and hopefully he's progressing towards, helping us be competitive. And the young guys, hopefully they're getting great experience.
What are some of the things that go through your mind during a 24-9 ball game?
Lots.
Anything you'd like to share?
Well, I just devised for Jace Peterson and Bogey, I devised a run pass option type of offense in there the last inning. Got away from my concentration, got away from me, so I went to run pass option.
We've asked you about Lockridge a little bit here and there. He's not going to be a power hitter for you, but you sense like his confidence is
Yeah, he should.
is up
He
there?
should, because, I mean, he came in last year and it was evident he was the right guy and he fit in really nice as a role player. He just loved it. He embraced it, and he's in a really good spot.
Could he be more of a power hitter for you?
I mean, he's a strong kid. If he does a good job strike balling it, he'll get his opportunity.
We haven't really spent much time asking you about the opening day roster, especially on the position player side. Is he?
You're trying to get to it, though.
Is he in the mix?
Certainly. Just by the way he played last year, the way he fit in, you can't just always pick the best 13 position players. Sometimes it's not that he's not one of them, but sometimes it's the guys that fit the best.
Any takeaways from Chad Patrick today?
Yeah. It wasn't good. He got ahead of himself a little bit out in front, but I trust him. So everything was up. He hasn't commanded anything soft, so he's got to keep getting better, but I trust him.
That's interesting for Pat Murphy yesterday as the Brewers scored 24 runs and a 24-9 win. Patrick got absolutely shellacked in that game, as we mentioned earlier. Wasn't one of his best outings. Now, he did not give him an out, giving up 6 runs and 3 in the third inning. He didn't say, well, he was working on stuff. Nothing like that. Just like couldn't control any of the soft stuff. He's getting ahead of himself. But the key thing he said there was what? I trust him. And the one thing we know with Pat Murphy is when you have his trust, he's going to go to the wall for you. Remember what he said about Blake Perkins? Was it last year? If they send Blake Perkins down, they're sending me down too. So all these people talking about roster manipulation and who's on the team and who's not. I'll tell you one thing. Blake Perkins is on the team for as long as Pat Murphy is managing this baseball team.
And I feel like that kind of goes for Joey Ortiz sometimes, too. I know he could be a little harder on Joey Ortiz, but he loves Joey Ortiz.
That's just this year. Made and Fisher are coming. I mean, this is fine this year. And then after this year, the young
Joey
kids
Ortiz
come.
can't be that utility guy on this team
Sure.
in some capacity. Like, I just feel like as long as Joey Ortiz wants to be a Milwaukee Brewer, Pat Murphy will find a role for him somewhere in the system.
Yes, I agree with that. I don't disagree. I'm fine with Joey Ortiz being a utility guy. If Joey Ortiz is the utility infielder for the next 2-3 years, that's fine. Yeah, I've got absolutely no problem with that.
Kind of.
Right. No question. This is Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Let me tell you about my good friends over there at Habish, and Rotier. Don't forget, plead the 5th Friday, every Friday at 4:20. Your chance to tell somebody to go, shh, don't say anything else. You're making yourself look bad. Every Friday at 4:20. You can nominate people throughout the week by using the talk and text line 414-677-1250. Let Charlie know what whoever the person said was, providing it's a public figure. If it's your sister, your brother, your mother, your father, your grandparents, then we don't need the audio of that. You can just tell us on the radio what it was by calling in on Friday. But if it's something we can pull the audio of something that John Kuhn said or something that Mason Crosby said or Romney or Thunder, whatever the case may be, we can pull that back and play it back and read whatever it is that you texted in. That's completely fine. Now, as far as Habish and Rotier, they've been doing this since 1930. Yeah, they got a national reputation. That's about winning, right? They win at a big level. They got some of the highest win totals in the state of Wisconsin. They got records for that matter. And that's great, and that's good for them. The cool part about what they say is national reputation and hometown service. That's the part that you and I care the most about. Hometown service. 13 different locations around the state of Wisconsin. If you're listening to us on the game in Wausau, they got one there. If you're listening to us on WNFL in Green Bay or in Appleton, yep, we got you there too. This is the coolest part about the whole deal. When you go in there, regardless of who you are, regardless of how big of an accident you were in or whatever, but you were hurt and you're looking to get what you deserve coming out of this, they're going to work as hard as humanly possible to get you what you deserve at the end of the day. Check them out today, Habish.com. Again, Habish.com for more information. Habish and Rotier, national reputation, hometown service. Welcome back. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. See Sparky Pfeiffer with you out here at Moe's Irish Pub in Wauwatosa, Highway 100. Come on out. Hang out with us out here till 5 o'clock this evening. And also, don't forget, coming up on Thursday, this week, Thursday. Boy, I should get track of my days. This Thursday, so 2 days from right now, we'll be at the Annex at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Come on out, hang out. We'll be out there from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So if you want to meet John Kuhn, the former Packer running back, Rami Makloff, Mitch Thunder Nellis, and myself, Thunder is out here drinking and say nobody wants to meet him. Everybody wants to meet you, Thunder.
He's the life of the party.
Damn. I thought he wasn't wearing purple. And I looked at the shoes, and sure enough, purple shoes. Everything else is green. Everything else is green. And I'm like, oh, my God, he's not wearing purple. No, he's got purple shoes on. One of these days, we'll catch him. He's going to screw up one of these days. So, again, come on out. Hang out with us at the Annex coming up on Thursday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. All three shows will be broadcasting live from the Annex at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Potawatomi, bet above the rest. Looking forward to seeing everybody out there coming up on Thursday. So, Tarek Skubal, who made an appearance for Team USA. Boy, wouldn't it be nice to have him tonight versus Nolan McLean on the mound? Just saying. It would be nice. You'd feel better about the situation. But either way, Tarek Skubal was, I think, what was it, MLB Network? Is that where it was, Charlie?
Territory.
Foul Territory. Okay. So Foul Territory, the show with AJ Brzezinski and Eric Kratz. We love that show. We have those guys on all the time. He talked about goosebumps and was asked, what U.S. moment kind of gives you the goosebumps still?
Moment in U.S. sports history that gives you chills every time you watch it, every single time.
Game 7, Chicago Cubs, just that whole series was incredible. It's either that or LeBron's chase down block on the 3-1 series where they came back and won it all. Those are kind of a toss-up for me.
Okay, so those are his moments that he has. Screw the Cubs, by the way. But the question that I have for you is this. What is a Wisconsin sports moment that gives you the chills or the goosebumps at the end of the day that you remember back like, man, just thinking about that, I still get chills on that whole deal of how big of a moment that truly was? What is that Wisconsin sports moment for you that even to this day you think about and kind of gives you goosebumps or the chills? That was so impactful and big in your life. Nicolay Law, talking text line, 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. You can also follow us on social media at WI Sports Radio, whether that be on Instagram. We are also on X, Facebook. Come find us streaming live on X and YouTube each and every day from 2 to 5 here with Wisconsin Sports Daily. I think there's again, the older you are, the more moments you're probably going to have. For me, one of them was the Robin Yount catch, which he probably didn't have to dive. But the Robin Yount catch and the Juan Nieves no-hitter with Paschke on the call, that has definitely, and Mike Keegan was the other one. That was one of them for me where I was like, man, that one I'll never forget. I remember where I was. I was on my couch. I remember watching it with my dad. That was an amazing moment for me that I still think about and kind of get chills about at that moment. What about you, Charlie?
I think being the season that it is, 2015, going back to the Badgers taking down that undefeated Kentucky team in March Madness, that was probably the biggest moment for me that I can think of just off the top of my head. I go back to the Brewers clinching the 2011 NL Central title. I was at that game with my dad. It's a lot of fun. I remember the confetti coming down when they clinched it. And then the Bucks winning an NBA championship, being in Deer District, being a part of that, just a massive crowd, the entire state that just collected around that one huge giant screen. And then just the, again, euphoria. I say it every single time, the euphoria that everybody felt just being a part of that moment and being in the city. It felt like nothing bad could happen right there, right then in Milwaukee.
Yeah, those are two great moments. Our sales guy, Tom, is literally in front of me texting me. And again, the Miracle on Ice, Mark Johnson, Bob Suter, back in February 22nd of 1980, talking about that one. The other thing, too, I think we go back, and I don't know if it was a moment. It was a series of moments. CC Sabathia, like when they acquired CC Sabathia, I remember doing the show at Summerfest, and it had to be a good couple hundred people crowded around the station tent at Summerfest as we were breaking the news of CC Sabathia getting traded to the Brewers. And then he gets here and it's CC Mania. Like they put out jersey shirts for Sabathia at the team store. I think they're gone in less than 30 minutes. They were completely sold out. Chance of CC through the rest of that year. And again, they're trying to break that gigantic streak of 26 years of not having been to the postseason. And then they get on this long sellout streak at home where every game, weekday or not, are sellouts as they go down the stretch. And then Sabathia is pitching on 3 days rest, even though he's going to free agency that next offseason and just not caring. It's like, I'm going to get this team in the playoffs one way or the other. And then you get to that first playoff game, and everybody's got their towels out and going crazy. And we talked about the Thundersticks that were for game 2 of that series. And, man, I mean, Sabathia, to me, just that entire experience, just thinking about how cool that was definitely another moment for me where you're like, you got the chills and you get the goosebumps just thinking back to how cool that was. Nikolai Law talking text line, what is it for you? Wisconsin sports history, kind of going off Tarek Skubal, who talked about, his U.S. history, U.S. sports, or whatever the case may be. What is it for you for Wisconsin sports? 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. There is no wrong answers here. Everybody is different, right? So Jeff is on the Dugout YouTube chat, says Niger Morgan, 2011 NLDS walk-off, and the Aaron Rodgers Hail Mary against the Lions. Yes, both of those are very, very good. I mean, Niger Morgan, when he was T-plush, awesome. Man.
That whole team,
that was a different level there, Charlie.
That whole team just gives me chills, I think. Like that 2011, that period of Brewers teams, all the different personalities that you had on that squad that were all just so willing to be themselves. It was so much fun just thinking of that. To Prince Fielder jumping on home plate and everybody crashing to the ground with like bowling pins. Ryan Braun just being Ryan Braun, Giovanni Gallardo, all these players that were just themselves. Carlos Gomez is my favorite player of all time because of just his antics and the way he just played full of passion. Those are the types of players I want to see on my team, and that Brewers team had 20 of them, it felt like.
Yes. There is with a lot of personality, a lot of character, which is very similar to the 1982 team. Obviously, as well, with a lot of characters, a lot of personality that goes along with it, which makes it, to me, even a bigger fan favorite, right? When you have a lot of big personalities that people can attach themselves and get down with, it makes all the sense in the world. We got another one here from our guy, Tom. March 20th, 1969. Charlie, see that? That's even older than me, my friend.
That's older than my dad. I was going to say.
I wasn't born for another 7 years.
That's 5 months before my dad's birthday.
Right. Lamont Weaver's half-court shot to send Beloit Memorial into overtime versus Nina in the state championship game. The shot heard around the state. How about that, huh? A little history lesson for you and me, Charlie.
All right,
a little history lesson.
I like it.
Nothing
Throwing it back a little bit.
Yeah, not so bad. Not so bad at all. And then, of course, he included himself in a moment as well. Tom did, yes. Cudahy playing in the state Class A semifinal versus Wausau West with their grade 2 guard, me, he said.
There you go.
Tom being our guy.
Cudahy, as Tommy always likes to say.
Yes, Tom and Tommy Wirtz, both of our Toms from Cudahy. All right, what do you got?
We got John in Hartford on the line. John, you are on Wisconsin Sports Daily with Sparky.
Hey, Sparky, how's it going?
Going good, buddy. What's up?
Hey, 1982, game 162 against the Baltimore Orioles to get them to the playoffs. And then game 5 against the Angels. And then the big memory I have from that season was Cecil Cooper with the base hit where he's motioning get on ball and Yuke's like, get on ball.
Didn't Yost hit a home run in that game?
That I don't remember.
1982 against the Orioles. I'm going to look that up. Go ahead.
I know he hit one against the Red Sox that year or something.
Oh, maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. That could be.
Yeah. And then on a personal level, Bill Baylog winning his first World of Outlaws feature at Beaver Dam.
I can get down with that. The Winter Nightmare, for those of you that don't know who he is. Yeah, that's a good one, too. No question. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. For those of you listening, like, who is Bill Baylog? Back in the day when I used to – no, I mean, you're not going to know who he is. But back in the day when I used to have my racing show, he's a local driver that has a dirt track racer that has really taken off and done great things from the state of Wisconsin, which is pretty cool. All right, so 1982. Let me see. Is that the right game? Yeah, that's the right game against the. No, that's not the right game because that's a loss. So that is definitely not the game. Oh man, I can't find the box score. Oh well.
I have a question.
I was trying to find the box score. Go ahead. What?
Can goosebump games? So this idea that something that sticks in your mind so much that is just so kind of momentous to you. Can those be bad moments too? And if so, then what are those goosebump games then?
No.
Why not?
No.
Because
you don't get goosebumps over something
from
bad,
being scared,
man.
Yeah, you do. From being scared or something, yeah.
What are you talking? No,
So then, what is that? Like a stomachache game that you remember?
The game that brought you to tears, the game that made you want to puke. I mean that's what that is. I don't associate chills and goosebumps with negativity, right? I mean, you have chills and goosebumps when you have your first kid or a kid in general, right? And you're there for the birth of your kid. You have guilt, those chills and goosebumps. When you get married and you see your wife walking down the aisle, okay, you get goosebumps or chills. You don't get goosebumps and chills when you bury a grandparent. Like that's not a thing. That's not a positive.
When you get scared, when you hit that type of nervous moment, and then it just again deflates you. I guess you still in that moment have those goosebumps and chills, and then it deflates you.
Yeah, I guess that's a question for Vikings fans watching their field goal kicker miss kicks for years and costing themselves playoff games.
I was going to bring up because we were talking about the Aaron Rodgers Hail Mary, but the Arizona Cardinals game where he throws the Hail Mary to take it in overtime, and then immediately Larry Fitzgerald and the Cardinals in overtime just go nuclear and take down the Green Bay Packers. In my mind, I had chills during that game. Not because I'm a Bears fan, but because just the moment, it was so insane. I was on that just crazy high from Aaron Rodgers hitting the Hail Mary. I think it was to Jeff Janis in that game.
And he turned it over at the end to lose the game.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
But
yes,
still,
he did.
I had chills at points in that game. Still in that moment, it still resonates in my mind, much like these good moments.
Yep. Anton in the Dugout YouTube chat over there at WI Sports Radio on YouTube and on X. Robin Yount hit 2 dingers versus the O's in that last game. Thank you, Anton. And no, Yost did not. So that was the previous game, a different game at the end of the season that I was remembering. I can't find the stupid box score. That's really annoying me right now. But Yount with 2 homers in that game. You know, we started talking about guys that were great in Brewers history, like Robin Yount or Paul Molitor, guys like that. And you sit here and you think back to some of those great players. And now you compare and contrast to what potentially is coming in this farm system as far as from an offensive perspective and from a hitting perspective and just how good this is. Look at the World Baseball Classic tonight. Look at the World Baseball Classic tonight. You have Terang in the game. You have Contreras in the game. You got Churio in the game. You got 3 hitters. Hitters.
Zerpa, too, for the
whatever. I'm talking about hitters, though. But, I mean, you got 3 hitters in the championship game for the World Baseball Classic. Not one dude. You got 3 dudes in this game. And then what do we talk about? The offense. The offense let us down against the Dodgers, let the Brewers down. But seriously, they've got guys, and they've got even more guys coming. I'm sorry. I cannot wait. I'll give you another one that probably nobody remembers. I remember when Prince Fielder made his debut and came up. Or was it Corey? I think it was Prince Fielder. Hit a foul ball, and like the whole place almost stood and cheered because he hit a foul ball. That's how anxious everybody was to see Prince Fielder play and get his first at bat in that game. Alan Cedarburg, you're next on the Nicolay Law Talking Text Line here on Wisconsin Sports Daily with me, Sparky. What's up?
Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for taking my call. So I've got 2 unbelievable goosebump games that will never ever be taken away from my memory. So first one was back in 2007 when the Packers played the Vikings at the Metrodome. I was there with my mom and dad, and we were in the end zone when Favre threw 421. So that was just something that was unbelievable. The entire stadium was up on their feet. They didn't know Favre was going to be a future Viking. And then they played that video by Dan Marino, and it was just pretty damn cool. The second one, it was kind of like an, oh my God, I'm going to throw up because I think we're going to lose, but ended up being goosebumps and just being ecstatic. I was on the 50-yard line, second level at Soldier Field when Rodgers dodged Julius Peppers and threw the game-winning touchdown to Cobb to get the division and go into the playoffs. It was a feeling I've never, ever had. I just couldn't believe what happened. And then a tie for just honorable mention. It's kind of a weird one, but Michael Redd dropping 57 against the Utah Jazz. I think this was back in 2006 in November. We lost the game, but I had goosebumps watching him play because he was just in a zone that I had never seen before.
Yeah, I remember listening to that game and watching that game. And after the game, even Michael Redd himself was like, this is cool, but we lost, right? I mean, that was not the way you wanted that to go. Al, thanks for the call. I'll give you another one from me. Brandon Jennings having his big 55-point night or whatever back in the day. And again, I was at a wedding where a bunch of my co-hosts were at and producers were at for another person in our building of a different radio station. I'm like, okay, I got to go. I got post game. I got to go watch this game. I go back. I'm sitting in our old conference room with this little TV in there watching it and texting these guys like, dude, y'all are missing it. Like, I'm sure the wedding is great, but this dude is going off right now. And going on post game show and telling him I want to interview his mom for saying thank you for giving birth to Brandon Jennings. Like, I was out of my mind crazy at that point, Charlie.
Well, and Al also reminded me of going to like Packers clinching divisions. This was in the playoffs later on, but BJ Raji's thick six. That gives me the chills every time too, dude.
Yeah,
because it takes down the Bears in the playoffs. It was such a cool play, and it's a big man touchdown. All the greatest parts of football. Just awesome.
No doubt. He is Charlie using C Sparky Fiber with you. I come back on the other side. Take a quick time out. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. We are live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. And we are out here at Moe's Irish Pub. It's St. Patrick's Day, by the way. Happy St. Patrick's. Hope y'all are having good time today. People are wearing their beads, having some fun out here, having some corned beef and cabbage going on. They got the Reuben happening out here. They got the fish and chips going on, plus all their normal stuff that they always have, right? The triple grilled cheese with the tomato soup. That's one of my favorites. Pot roast, absolutely delicious. I have that here all the time when I come here, too. That Milwaukee pretzel from Milwaukee Pretzel Company is on the money. Then they got the wings and the cheese curds and all that stuff. So, again, Moe's Irish Pub, Highway 100 in Wauwatosa. Come on out, say hi. They got some live music coming up tonight. We'll tell you about that on the other side. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Live from Moe's Irish Pub in Wauwatosa, Highway 100. Come on out and hang out. Live music going throughout the day. So far, they've had Trinity Irish dancers here. They've had music going on since 2 o'clock. Coming up at 6 o'clock, live music from LIIIIIIVE Luck coming up at 6 o'clock. And then at 9:30, Luke Hydorn performing at 9:30 tonight. So 6 o'clock, LIIIIIIVE's Luck, and at 9:30, Luke Hydorn out here at Moe's Irish Pub for St. Patrick's Day. Would love to see you out here. Charlie, you're a little bit younger. Did you all go out and do your thing back in college?
Yep, we had what we called unofficial during the St. Patrick's Day weekend. Usually, it was bringing out all the house parties, going out on the lawn, having a few adult beverages, having a good time. We also usually had to be a part of the parade for that event too, the football team.
Oh, because the football.
Yeah. We would be the security for the parade. So we'd be on the sidelines. You didn't really need security in Elmhurst for the St. Patrick's Day parade, but we got a free jacket out of it, so that was cool.
Oh, that's that. Yeah, that there ain't nothing wrong with that. That's a cool thing then for sure. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, had a good time.
Good deal. Yeah, absolutely. Coming up next, our green and gold update. Charlie's sounds of the day. Normally we do it at 3:40. We simply did not have enough time. So we'll get to that coming up at 4:20. Things that we missed on today's show brought to you by the Milwaukee Admirals. That'll come up at 4:40. Still plenty of time for you out here getting Moe's Irish Pub in Wauwatosa. And then don't forget, on Thursday, we are at the Annex from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. doing all 3 shows live from there at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Come on out, watch some college basketball, some great food and beverage. Looking forward to seeing everybody out there at the Annex Potawatomi Casino Hotel on Thursday. Green and Gold Update brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Up next here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome back as we broadcast live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Moe's Irish Pub is where we are today. Highway 100 in Wauwatosa. Still to come out here. Obviously, great food going on all day. Corned beef and cabbage. They've got the Reuben, the fish and the chips, plus a lot of the rest of their menu. It is a little bit of a limited schedule today until 11 o'clock tonight, but the pot roast is still on there, the double cheeseburger, the triple grilled cheese, and tomato soup. That's one of my favorites, as well as the pot roast. So all kinds of appetizers available. Come on out, hang out, have some beverages, have some great food, great live entertainment still to come. Leahy's Luck coming up at 6 o'clock. And then Luke Eidhorn coming up at 9:30 tonight at Moe's Irish Pub here on Highway 100. Got some breaking news in the world of sports. Comes from our buddy Adam Roberts, who used to be a producer of mine back in the day, Charlie, on the Big Show back in the day. Wisconsin Senate votes 21-12 to legalize online sports betting in Wisconsin. As written in Assembly Bill 601, it now heads to Governor Evers' desk, where it's unclear if he will sign it. I've shown two people this, and we got this message to me by our boss, Mitch Rosen, who saw it, and both responded with fist pumping when I showed it to them, Charlie.
I don't know if I'd respond exactly the same way. I don't know. I just feel like Wisconsin has done such a good job. We talk about it with the Packers. We talk about it with some of these other organizations in Wisconsin, but just keeping that with the indigenous community, the sports betting, any kind of casino, stuff like that. And they've pushed this off for as long as possible. I think it's interesting that they're willing to now all of a sudden bring it into the state. Again, along with some other rule changes, things that Wisconsin has pushed off, this feels like just another link popping off that chain that they had.
I think there's way too much money involved that the state can benefit from to look the other way. I think you could easily say that they're way behind on this as other states have taken advantage of it. I think it's an easy yes. Now, I understand the naysayers to, betting and gambling, all of that, and people losing their houses and all this other stuff. I get all of that, but I guess I am still a little bit in the corner of it just makes too much sense. And I don't know what Tony Evers is going to do one way or the other. It's going to be his decision. I'm sure he'll have a good reason, whichever way he decides to go with it, which is a way to have to see. But that is a big, big deal in the sports world that Wisconsin gets to the point of having online gambling one step closer to getting it done. Now it's just up to the governor of what he wants to do. Time for our Green and Gold update.
It's time for your Green and Gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
Okay, let's get to it. When we start talking about the Green Bay Packers, this is something a little bit different. I'm sure nobody else has had this conversation as of yet. I learned something today, Charlie, that I was not aware of. And I always like when we do this show and I learn something, right? And a lot of times listeners will help educate me on what's going on. You'll help educate me as well on all different aspects of life, Charlie will, right? What the young kids like nowadays, music.
About some of the biggest artists nowadays, just earlier in the show.
Never heard of them. Yep, never heard of them. But either way, we're all learning here on a day-to-day basis. I don't know if you follow on X, this account called Nerding on NFL. They got like 46,000 people based out in New York. And I started following these guys a few years ago because they're pretty good at getting the scheduling right. Now, I don't know who they know or where they get their sources are, whatever else, but they've been pretty good. They may have missed one or two, but they've normally been pretty good on getting the NFL schedule kind of ahead of everybody else. So today they released that Seahawks will kick off the 2026 season on Wednesday, September 9th on NBC. The 49ers and Rams will then play in Melbourne, Australia on Thursday, September 10th. Time not yet known for that game. So we'll wait and see. But that means there's no game on Friday. Now, when I said Wednesday, Charlie shook his head because they're talking about having a game on Wednesday prior to Thanksgiving this year, Thanksgiving Eve. This is the part that I was not aware of, Charlie. Check this out. He or she, whoever runs this account, put the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961 bars NFL games occurring on Friday night or Saturday from the second Friday of September until the second Saturday of December. In 24 and 25, week one's Friday fell on the first Friday of September. Therefore, the league could play both those dates. In 2026, week one's Friday lands on the second Friday of September, triggering the SBA restriction. This is also why the game in Brazil will not be played in week one and will instead be scheduled for week 3.
That's crazy that they've had this plan for 40 years to block stuff like this. What do they have the reasoning for why they're blocking that on those certain specific dates? Or they're specific?
I don't know. Google it. The Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961 bars NFL games occurring on Friday night or Saturday from the second Friday of September until the second Saturday of December. Again, this is something I knew nothing of until earlier today when I checked it out. It is interesting that this whole thing happens. Like, there's a person that responded to this on X, Alex, who said the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961 bars games occurring on Friday night only if there's a high school game within 75 miles, so it shouldn't have affected the Melbourne game. Not sure why the NFL thinks they can't play that day, is what one response says.
So this is from Fox. After the Federal Communications Commissions announced last week that it would seek public comments on the ongoing shift of live sports from broadcast channels to the streaming service, the Senate Judiciary Committee is asking for a revision of the 1961 Sports Broadcasting Act. So it seems like the NFL maybe is just thinking ahead that they've already won that, or whatever this act is going to be disbanded, and that they'll be able to do this, all because of they're selling the packages to these streaming services that just can't be controlled by the FCC right now. Like, this is all just because they keep branching out. They're like taking down things that have been instituted for 60 years for more money. This is crazy.
You didn't know about that rule either, did you?
I did not. No, because it's never needed to be enacted until they started selling these games to the streaming services, apparently.
Yep. So the first game of the year this year will not be on Thursday like normally. It will be on a Wednesday this year, will be the first game. So you could see the Packers on a Wednesday that first week of the season. So that means there's going to be games on Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday, and Monday this year for week one.
That's just crazy. I mean, like, I already don't really like that the first game is a Thursday night. I can deal with it because it's been an NFL day for my entire life, at least. I wish the first game was Sunday morning, that first just game that normally you would have on an NFL Sunday to kick it off for everybody. Wednesday's so dumb. Wednesday's so stupid. You're just, again, keep branching out to overtake these other leagues that are already in some of these spaces as you. And these other leagues, I know, added tons of games to their schedule basically to do that, give them as many opportunities to compete with the NFL as possible. But you are the NFL. You are okay. I don't think you're really, in my mind at least, losing all that much money to an MLB broadcast or to an NBA broadcast that you need to take over 5 nights a week.
I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. MLB should change their schedule. They just should. And I understand. Now, again, here's your time to do it. You got the CBA coming up. Here's your opportunity. Their games should start in May. The season should end at the end of August, and the playoffs should start Labor Day weekend. Get out in front of the NFL kicking off their season. Get that wild card round through Labor Day weekend and get into the divisional round before they kick off week 1 of the National Football League. Hold the headlines. Nobody cares about that bye week in between the last exhibition game and whatever. You would own that whole weekend. NFL can't mess with you. Yes, you compete against college, but outside of that, you would own that part of it. Then your season is done before we get to October. Now cold weather cities like Chicago or Milwaukee actually will have good weather when you get to an NL championship series or an AL championship series. It makes a lot of sense, especially as they now are taking over weeknights too. Before, MLB would own weeknights, and then they would lose them, obviously, on Sundays and whatever, and you'd have to go against Sunday Night Baseball. Fine, I get that part of it. But now they're trying to own you. They're trying to take up 3 days a week
they're
during the
leaving you
regular
Tuesday.
season.
They're leaving you Tuesday. That's it. That's all you have. That's insane. Like, you have to find a way to fight back. They're doing this because the MLB and the NBA are letting them do this, essentially.
Yes.
They're not changing anything. They're not fighting back at all. They're saying the NFL is their dad and that they can just go and control them like this and control what nights they get watched. You shouldn't allow that as a league. That's crazy.
That's exactly right. They took the Christmas from the NBA already. So the reason this comes up is because I wanted to have this conversation because we don't know the schedule yet. The schedule normally comes out right around the draft within the first 2 weeks of May. I want to say the schedule normally pops out. What we do know is we do know what the Packers schedule is at this point. And it leads me to ask a philosophical question, I guess, for you as a Packer fan. As far as, is there something that you like, dislike when you're looking at a schedule? Meaning, when this schedule comes out, would you want to see the Packers playing on Wednesday night to start the season as game one, or on Thursday night as game two? Would you rather have them being in a traditional Sunday spot? Would you rather them not play those divisional games early and save them all for the second half of the season? Would you rather play, some of these tougher games against, say, the Lions or the Bears or Buffalo for later in the season, like the Rams? Would you rather get them out of the way early on in the season? Do you have some of those things that you're looking for when the schedule comes out of, like, I really don't want to play these guys early, I'd rather play them later, or I hope the Rams are game one so we can get them out of the way? Like, how do you look at it? Do you get that involved in it? Nikolai Law, talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. I will say, from the standpoint of doing what we do, Wednesday seems fun. I got to say, because you get Labor Day, fine, everybody's off, whatever. You come back Tuesday, you're getting ready for the game on Wednesday. Then Wednesday, you have all day to talk about the game. Then you come back Thursday, you talk about the game all day, Thursday, Friday. Then you get the weekend. And then when you come back on Monday, to that point, you've already talked about the Packer game for a couple of games. So now you can really talk about what happened around the rest of the football league and so forth, and then kind of start looking ahead to the next game. I like that personally as much as anything, because you get 2 full days. If you go Thursday, then you go Friday, and then by the time you get back to Monday, it's old already because you've already missed 2 days. So it's not as fresh. Well, if I get 2 straight days after that, when it's in the middle of the week, doing what I do, sports talk host, doing what Charlie does, I like that. Now, from a old man perspective, not a fan of weeknight games and having to stay up late to watch games or whatever else. Now, I'm a night owl, obviously, so, Charlie knows this.
You don't
I go to bed. I go to bed late and I wake up earlier and I don't sleep a ton, as Charlie has found out.
The other night, he said he was I stay up till 2:30 in the morning. I was like, why?
Yeah.
Why did you do that? Usually it's because he's doing work or something like that. He's like, I just felt like it this time. We're just watching stuff. Just got lost track of time. Like, that's crazy.
Just lost track of time.
I'm ready to knock out by 11:30.
No, just watching stuff. And then, I was on like 4 hours of sleep, 4.5 hours of sleep. And I was good. Now last night, I paid the price a little bit, and I was in bed by 11 o'clock, right? So I can't do that multiple nights. But I average, 6 hours of sleep a night, somewhere in that area, which I don't think is horrible. 5 to 6 hours of sleep, which I think is pretty good.
Yeah.
Right. But Wednesday night, I think, would be met with a lot of angst and anger from Packer fans. When it's a Thursday night game, people will just take off Friday and call it a 3-day weekend, go out, party, have fun, watch the Packers kick off the season. I think that's cool. If it's Saturday, which is never going to be the case, I think it's okay there. If it's Friday, like that Brazil game was, a ton of people were out watching the Packers on that Friday night game. And then Sunday, obviously, is all day, right? You just hang out, go to the Potawatomi Sportsbook, hang out there for the day, watch a full slate of games, have some great food at the Potawatomi Sportsbook kitchen, and enjoy yourself for the day. Wednesday night, I think that's tough. It's almost like you almost have to be at home on Wednesday if you're planning on going to work on Thursday.
Right. Wednesday nights always, to me, are that, well, I guess as Mitch Thunder and Ellis call it, the hump day, where you just need to relax. You've already had those 3 days of work ahead of you. You got 2 more days in front of you. You need to go home, throw a blanket on you, have the easiest dinner possible that you're going to have that weeknight, and just
Man, you
watch
sound
movies.
old already.
I know.
You already sound like
That's
you
my
have 5
favorite thing to
kids. and are like just stressed out beyond all imagination how you talk. It cracks me up, man. You and Words both.
I'm an old soul. We're both old souls.
Yeah, I can't wait till y'all have kids and see how really old you really get, how quickly you get there.
It's already got great hair.
So, right. So we start talking about this Packers schedule. I'll tell you my philosophy. The first thing I look for is I do not want 3 weeks in a row of road games. We've been through that multiple times as Packer fans back in the McCarthy era. That's the first thing I don't want to see. The second thing I don't want to see is I don't want to see 3 games in a row with 3 really uber tough teams back to back to back. I want a bye week sandwiched in there or an extra long week off of a Thursday night to get ready and let your body recover. I don't want, for instance, on this upcoming schedule, I would not want to see the Lions followed by the Rams followed by the Bills. Like that would be a disaster. I do not want that. Spread them out a little bit throughout the course of a season, right? Let me have the Texans somewhere in the middle of that. I'm fine with that. Let me have the Saints to break up that a little bit, or the Jets, or even the Buccaneers, who I think will probably regress a little bit this year. Any of those would be fine, or even the Falcons. Let any of those kind of break that up a little bit, because this division, I'm sorry, Bears are going to be tough again. We'll see what they do with this defense. I think that's the biggest question mark for them. And then can Caleb Williams continue to progress? The Lions, that's going to be physical regardless of who's on their roster. Now the Vikings with Kyler Murray, you assume they're going to be better than they were with J.J. McCarthy. So that's 6 games that are all going to be tough, right? Their defense, is good in Minnesota. That's always going to be a thing as long as that dude stays there as coordinator. So you've got 6 games that are guaranteed tough. And then when you start looking at the rest of it, now Buffalo's going to be a tough game. Carolina looks improved. Dallas is against Micah Parsons is always going to be a game as long as Micah Parsons is here. And then you look at your road games, road game in New England, road game in LA versus the Rams. Those are 2 tough games too. So when I look at the schedule, I don't want 3 road games in a row, number 1. Number 2, if I'm going to play a uber tough team, I'd rather have them in week 1 to kick off the season. Give me the Rams in week 1 and Matthew Stafford, and let's start off there, because they will not have played against Gannon's Packers defense. And as we know, Gannon has been a chameleon from time to time. So they're not really going to know what's going on with Gannon's defense. I like that opportunity to face them early versus if I wait to the end of the year. Yes, if you wait to the end of the year, Stafford could be hurt again for the 5 millionth time, and maybe you catch a break and it's not as hard of a game. I prefer the harder teams early with less time to prepare than I do later in the season and potentially them getting on a run.
Yeah, you at your healthiest, I think, is when you want to face the Los Angeles Rams, the Buffalo Bills, like you're talking about. I also think you want to face them there because I hate facing division opponents in the first week of the season. I think that's dumb. I think playing the Lions this year, yes, I think it was a good tone setter game for the Green Bay Packers for the rest of the season, despite the Lions not being the same team people expected them to be. At the same time, I want the interdivision games. I want these big games that you don't see as often, and then save those blood matches at the end of the season like you did this year. I did kind of like that they had the 5 out of 7 final games of the season with the interdivision opponents, and that made it super fun to watch. What I didn't like about that part, though, was having the Bears be almost back-to-back on that, and then they ended up playing in the playoffs, too, which almost made it back-to-back-to-back. I think you need more space in between that rivalry game. And I think the Chicago Bears, especially being the team that they are now, a young team that's trying to get on the Packers' nerves, you want to spread out those matches and have one be earlier in the season, have one be at the end of the season. See how these 2 teams change throughout the season to face each other. If you're going to rebuild a rivalry like that, I don't want to see that happen again where they, even if it's the Lions, even if it's the Vikings, are playing them twice in 3 weeks.
We are doing our Green and Gold update brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. As we are talking, I got an email when the segment started from the Packers. In recognition of the late Bob Harlan's contributions to the Green Bay Packers, the organization announced today they will install Harlan's name in a place of honor on Lambeau Field's northeast facade. From Ed Policy, quote, I had the opportunity to share with the Harlan family last week that we will be adding Bob's name to the northeast corner of the Lambeau Field facade. Bob was integral in remaking Lambeau into an iconic and revered stadium, and it's fitting that his name will be forever recognized as one of the most important leaders in Packers history. Bob's relentlessly dedicated himself to our organization, and we are grateful for all that he did.
Well deserved.
It says the former Packers president and CEO's name will be unveiled on the facade during the 2026 season at a game that will be determined after the NFL schedule is finalized. Additional details in conjunction with this honor will be announced at a later date. That seems weird to me. Just saying.
Why does that seem weird to you?
It seems weird to me that you just wouldn't put him where he belongs, and that is the Ring of Honor. He belongs in the Ring of Honor. Now, I understand the Ring of Honor is for players and coaches, whatever, guys that are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I can argue that Bob Harlan should be in the damn Pro Football Hall of Fame already based on the track record and history that he had of going and winning 2 Super Bowls with 2 different GMs, 2 different coaching staffs, completely different rosters, not to mention everything that he did in that town to keep the Packers in Green Bay with the renovations and everything else and the stock sales and all that goes along with it. He should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So, having said that, if Ed Policy is sitting back going, Sparky, we know he's going. That's why we're not putting him in the Ring of Honor. We're just going to wait. And then we'll have another celebration for him in the Ring of Honor. In the meantime, we're going to do this on the outside of the stadium to kind of honor him. But my question is, does that not seem weird? What do you mean? You're just going to put a name up on the outside of the building? I mean, like coming into the radio station and seeing Charlie Usen just on the brick underneath one of the windows, just hanging out there. Charlie Usen, producer, right? I mean, I don't know. It just seems weird. Like for me, it feels like it's got to either be the name of an entrance or something, not just putting a name up on the, because then it becomes like the Brewers Wall of Honor. Do you plan on adding names to this and he's the first one? Are you creating a Wall of Honor at Lambeau?
Wall of Honor or something like that.
Yeah.
I could see that. I also I guess I see it more as him signing Lambeau Field almost, putting his name on it in that fashion. Is that it's kind of like the house that Bob helped renovate at that point, like we talked about. That's how I'm envisioning it more, and maybe how the Packers are as well. Whereas that Ring of Honor is more about just kind of the history of the team itself. Whereas when you're signing the side of the building, that's saying that's what your legacy was. And I think that's a huge thing to have that be your legacy, be the renovation of Lambeau Field. And hearing those clips that you played from the Big Show a couple weeks ago from Bob Harlan, it just seems like he loved this team so much and loved the history of this team. And I think it sounded like him just being engraved at all into the history of this stadium like that would be an honor to him the way he talked.
I have an idea. Because that's what we do on this show. We come up with ideas. Hopefully the Packers listening at WNFL right now up there in Green Bay. I'm here for you. The facade's a cool idea. I don't understand what we're doing. If you're doing the Bob Harlan Wall of Honor or whatever, that's cool. You're going to add other names. He's the first. That's cool. I got no problems. Why not just name the atrium after him? I just Googled it. What's the name of the Lambeau Field Atrium? And it just says it's simply known as the Lambeau Field Atrium. Why not call it the Bob Harlan Atrium?
I think you could.
Why not? Just title his name on the atrium. Give him his own title space. Because if we know how this is going to go, eventually everything is going to be title sponsored, right? So it can be the Bob Harlan Atrium presented by American Family Insurance.
Probably why they don't want to do that is because they're going to sell. They don't want the names to end up being too long of some of these things.
Right. Could be the BMO Atrium at Lambeau Field or whatever. Maybe they plan on selling it and that's why they're not giving it to him. I don't know. But you just want them to be somewhere where it's going to be synonymous and everybody that walks in is going to see it and attribute it with something. Now, again, if it's the Bob Harlan Wall of Honor and you're going to add Lee Remmel and some of these other contributors that weren't players to that wall, I think that's a very cool idea. I'd be down for that.
Well,
absolutely.
And I think if you were to have it just big enough with lights shining on it too on the side of the stadium, I think you could draw that attention to something, and it doesn't have to be the name of an entrance. It doesn't have to be the name of an atrium. If people can just see it in general all the time. I don't know. I don't think of the Lambeau Field Atrium all the time when I'm thinking of Lambeau Field. I think of Lambeau Field and outside and just this picture of this massive landmark of the state of Wisconsin. And if you can see Bob Harlan's name big enough on that side of the landmark of the state of Wisconsin, that means more to me than being named for the atrium.
I got something else. You want to know something else?
Sure.
Can you explain to me why he doesn't have a street named after him? You got Holmgren Way. I think McCarthy got a street possibly, right? Why doesn't Bob Harlan have a damn street named after him in Green Bay? What? Am I missing something?
No, that's
weird. That should be done too.
that should definitely be something. They do that for everybody. I feel like that's something that's just synonymous with sports legends in general. In any city that you impacted, feels like you get a street. So he should have a street.
Hey, Mr. Mayor of Green Bay, if you're listening, let's do a street dedication to him, right? Have the family do a street. This should have been done when he was alive. Y'all have missed the boat on this one. And that's my fault because we're not talking about Bob Harlan a whole ton necessarily, but yeah, there should be a street dedicated in Bob Harlan's name as well at the end of the day. All right, Charlie Sounds of the Day is coming up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you out of here at Moe's Irish Pub, Highway 100 in Wauwatosa, right there off of Blue Mound Road as well. Live music still coming up tonight, 6 o'clock. LIIIIIIVE's Luck coming up at 6. Then at 9:30, it's Luke Idorn going to be out here too. So great live music going on throughout the rest of the evening. Great food specials too. You got the corned beef and cabbage, got the Reuben, got the fish and chips. That Milwaukee pretzel from the Jumbo Milwaukee Pretzel Company pretzel is a beautiful thing. And they got an abbreviated version tonight going on to 11 o'clock. Still plenty of time for you to come out here and enjoy St. Patrick's Day with everybody in the area here in southeastern Wisconsin. Charlie Sounds of the Day up next here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Moe's Irish Pub, Wauwatosa, Highway 100 in Blue Mountain. Come on out, say hi, hang out. Great food specials going on throughout the night. Got the corned beef and cabbage, got the Reuben, got the fish and chips, got an abbreviated schedule, but all great food here. I come here regularly. It's one of my places I like to come eat. Moe's Irish Pub and Grill got music going on tonight. LIIIIIIVE Luck at 6 o'clock and Luke Hydorn coming up at 9:30. So, again, the food menu goes until 11 o'clock tonight. So, plenty of time for you to come hang out here, again, at Moe's Irish Pub in Wauwatosa if you're in southeastern Wisconsin. Thanks for listening along on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network as well. We have been talking about WNFL there in the Green Bay and Appleton area, 99.7 FM. Or how about in Duluth, Superior? Had a call from Superior earlier today, 710 the game, or in Wausau, 93.9 the game. Appreciate y'all for listening and participating. And again, don't be shy. Don't be bashful. Call in as much as you want. Text in as much as you want. We'd love to have all the participation we can from around the state of Wisconsin for certain. With that, time for Charlie's Sounds of the Day.
What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, Charlie's Sounds of the Day. Top 3 sounds from around the world of sports. Where are we going, Charlie Usen?
All right, so first up here, we're going to head over to Full Court Cleveland, a podcast that Sam Amico of Hoops Hype was on. The Milwaukee Bucks take on the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight. Should be hopefully maybe a fun game if the Bucks can figure it out. Sparky,
Nobody
right?
cares.
Well,
Nobody cares.
Sam
World
Amico.
Baseball class. Hold on a second. I'm just going to tell you right now. I'm a Bucks fan. I'm not watching that game. Just being straight with you.
Not even on like a side TV or anything? Or your
World.
phone?
I don't have a side TV, man. I got one
laptop?
TV in the living room. Yeah, I guess. World Baseball Classic is on tonight. That has my attention. That's what I'll be tweeting about. That's what I'll be watching. That is the thing that will be on in our house tonight. I'll record the Bucks game in case something crazy happens. I'll go back and watch. But otherwise, all focus is on World Baseball Classic. If you've noticed, we're not really talking a whole bunch about the Bucks as of late because, to be honest with you, I get angry. And I'm sick of being angry about that team. So that's where we're at. But go ahead.
This is Sam Amico, and he's not as angry with the Bucks as you are. He actually believes in the Bucks a little bit.
I think Milwaukee is probably now going to start, if they're bringing Giannis back, which they have done, and some might say rest them, but I wouldn't be surprised if they try to make a little bit of a run for the play-in tournament.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah, because, I think that they want to show Giannis that they're trying to win.
What is this? When is this from?
Full Court Cleveland, a podcast.
No, when? He didn't just say that.
This was from, they posted it yesterday. Yeah.
Yesterday?
Uh-huh.
Get out of here.
2 hours ago they posted it, actually.
2 hours ago?
2 hours ago, yeah.
You must be joking. Do you know how far away they are from the play-in? They're 5.5 out of the play-in. They're not making a play-in.
I couldn't
Somebody
say
tell
they
Sam.
played the fifth, yeah.
And again, I don't have any issues with Sam. He's nice. He's been on with me before on radio shows I've done. But, dude, look at the standings. They're not catching the play-in. They're 5.5 out of the play-in, man. Get out of here. I hope the next clip is better than that clip.
It is. This is Greg Gard talking yesterday to the media about the Badgers tournament berth.
The prognosticators in January had us not in this tournament, and we've been on an ascension from, mid-January on. We've had individual players take steps forward. I can't name anybody that hasn't gotten better. And that's been a rewarding part to watch. And now you've earned this opportunity to go play in this tournament, which obviously it's bright lights and big stage and everybody's eyes are on it, but continue to get better and continue to be the best version of ourselves as we go forward into Thursday. And you got to play your best 40 minutes.
I don't think that I can pinpoint, maybe Badger fans can, maybe we can do it tomorrow as a topic. What changed? Like, what put them over the top and let them shift gears, as he put it, in the middle of January to where this team kind of caught fire and then was able to sustain it for the rest of the season into the conference tournament, and now sitting here waiting to play High Point at 12:50 on Thursday afternoon. What was that change? What was that one thing or two things that kind of pushed him over the hump at that point, Charlie?
One of the biggest things that I remember seeing, and I remember talking about with this Badgers team at the beginning of the season, is that it felt like they were almost playing like the Bucs sometimes, where they just weren't being aggressive rebounding. They were taking a ton of three-point shots and just hoping and willing that those would go in. And then halfway through the season, what I saw change was just the energy that this team was playing with when you didn't have the ball. You saw guys crashing the boards a lot more. You saw the defense becoming maybe not better, but just more aggressive, which I think you need sometimes if you aren't a very good defensive team. I saw this team take smarter shots. There was a lot of players that I felt like were maybe taking too many shots at the beginning of the season that decided, you know what, Nick Boyd and John Blackwell are the two guys that should be taking the shots. And then the third thing I saw was John Blackwell was kind of that lead guy in the first half of the season. In the second half of the season, it transitioned to Nick Boyd. And that's not saying John Blackwell was playing bad, but you saw Nick Boyd just take the reins a little bit. And I think John Blackwell works really well as that second player to somebody else. When he's that lead player, I think a lot of other guys tend to stand around a little bit. When he's that second guy, you can be the connection. You can be the one that gets the ball at the end of a possession and then get your shots and still score the same way like he has been.
We talked about this earlier about Shaka Smart going to use the transfer portal. And I know Marquette and Wisconsin are rivals. That dude should buy lunch for Greg Gard. And let's talk about the transfer portal, because Hanjay to Boyd to Rapp to these dudes that he's been pulling the last couple of years out of this transfer portal, that's a guy that Shaka Smart should be listening to me like, all right, man, so what are you looking for? Like, what are the things that's fascinating you? I don't need names. You don't got to tell me who you want. I'm not trying to compete against you to get guys, but I'm just kind of curious, like, what are the qualities and things that you're looking for, or things you want to hear from a kid when you talk to a kid prior to getting them from the portal? What are important? What are things important to you before you make a move on one of these guys? Because considering Shaka has not done it, this is going to be a big offseason to see if it actually works for Marquette or if it backfires. Because I'll tell you this much, if it backfires and it doesn't work, he's going to be bye-bye to the portal and be like, okay, tried it, didn't work. I'm going back to how I was doing things prior. And that could be it for the transfer portal. So, again, if I was Shaka Smart, go buy him dinner. Come down to Moe's Irish Pub. Have Greg Gard come down, buy him some dinner here at Moe's Irish Pub in Tosa. Treat him to a night out. Get him a couple beverages. He wants a couple beverages. And pick that man's brain, because he has figured out how to maneuver and work the transfer portal, Charlie.
And it's 1, 2, 3 guys. It's not changing his entire team every single year. It's finding 2 to 3 guys that can fit into the system and knowing the type of systems they were in before.
Absolutely. All right, third and final one, Charlie, sounds of the day.
Last up here, we're going to head on over to the Dan Patrick Show, where John Smoltz, former MLB pitcher, was discussing playing the WBC, the World Baseball Classic, in the middle of the MLB season, something that manager of the Team USA reiterated earlier today in a press conference as well.
I think you make it bigger when you do it in the middle of the season, shut it down for a week. I've been saying that for years. I think it's the perfect spot to showcase the international talent. You'd have everybody wearing that uniform. They'd be in mid-season form. There'd be no restrictions. You truly get to see the Goliath going against the Goliath without them coming out and throwing, a million arms. I don't know that we'll ever get there. I hope we do. Hockey did it last year. I didn't miss 1 second of it. I was glued to it. It was the most incredible event that I've ever watched. When you see what those players were doing for that country, and it was much more condensed, we could do the same thing. That's how you make it better. You can allow what this tournament has done is accomplished its goals. Team Italy, baseball is going to be thought of differently there. You've got all other countries that are bringing baseball to the forefront when other sports were really kind of marquee and king. That has worked. Is it the perfect timing? No. Because spring training and all these clubs, think about managing Team USA. You got 30 bosses. You got 30 bosses telling you what their players can and can't do. It's a very difficult situation. But given the circumstances, this has been an epic year. It's probably the best tournament we've seen in a long time.
So I don't like it. And the reason I don't like it, I understand what they're trying to do. I get it. They want to make it like the NHL and how they came up with that all-star format. I get why you want to do it that way. But this is the thing. In the middle of July, you're competing against nobody. No, yeah, there's soccer, but it's the middle of the soccer season. There's nobody in the U.S. that you're competing against from a sports perspective. Nobody. You're not trying to steal viewers. They're already there. They're already watching the All-Star game. There's nothing else on, right? Got the ESPYs on that week. There's nothing. Why in the world would I put it there when potentially Acuna could get hurt in May or somebody could get hurt in April when you're going full bore? Your starting pitcher, your ace could blow out his shoulder or elbow in May, and now I'm screwed, and now I got to hustle, try and find somebody else. You're coming into a season like you are right now. Now, again, I know LIIIIIIVE was banged up last year, so they don't want to play, so instead you see him in the stands last night watching his team in disbelief as far as how well they were playing. But in spring training, you are competing against the NBA. You're trying to get momentum to let everybody know your season is about to start on opening day. You're giving all of this free promotion to your sport to remind them it's starting. The NBA, what do they get? What do? They don't do jack crap. They start in the middle of October, and people don't turn that damn thing on until Christmas, really. That's how it is, Christmas. Otherwise, October, November, December, be like, the NBA, whatever. And they're focused on the National Football League. This is the exact right time that they should be doing this World Baseball Classic. It's perfect. The season starts next week. You couldn't ask for a better timing. Now, I've seen the other thing of, should this be every 4 years? Should we do it every offseason? No. Leave it alone. Let it still be special. Let it be every other year and go from there, Charlie.
I think so. I think you look at what the NBA did this year with their All-Star game, trying to copy what the NHL did, just so that they could maybe get the players to care about their All-Star game a little bit more. It was better. It still wasn't really that watchable, if I'm going to be completely honest. It still wasn't 15 years ago when you had LeBron and Kobe going up against each other. But it's not going to be. That's the problem. And I think the MLB All-Star game is kind of starting to get to that level, not nearly as close as the NBA, but you're starting to see that downturn on it. I don't think just automatically putting this tournament in the middle of the season changes the way that players care about it.
Let's have that conversation. Let's have the conversation of All-Star games. NBA All-Star game, I can see lack of effort. NFL Pro Bowl, which no longer exists, I saw lack of effort.
Yeah.
How do you see lack of effort in a baseball game? They're going to still throw it 95 miles an hour one way or the other as a pitcher. They're not underhand softball tossing in the All-Star game right now. If you're a hitter, you're not trying to get embarrassed, so you're still swinging hard. And if you're an outfielder or whatever else, maybe you don't dive in an All-Star game to try and get a ball, but you're still running after the ball to try to make a play. You still see guys going up over the wall trying to make a highlight play. So it's hard to judge lack of effort in an MLB All-Star game because of the sport itself. I don't think you'll ever see it get to that point of the NBA or NFL because of that reason. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily out here at Moe's Irish Pub in Wauwatosa, Highway 100 and Blue Mountain Road. Still to come, LIIIIIIVE Luck playing tonight at 6 o'clock. Then Luke Heidorn coming up at 9:30. Come on out, hang out. Great food specials going on as well. Corned beef and cabbage. Got the Reuben. Got also fish and chips and a bunch of other specialties as well. Tonight, the kitchen open till 11 o'clock tonight here at Moe's Irish Pub. Sparky with you, Charlie Usen over there. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. All right. I don't know who nominated this one. It's called Children, right? I believe that's the name of it.
Yes, that's the name of it.
Yeah. We're banning this thing going forward. We have got to redo this. No. We're going to redo this. I'm going to have our guy redo this so we can get through this boring first part of the song. That's where it should start. Like, the bumper should start right there and then play out. All right. Charlie is over there. See Sparky Pfeiffer here. Charlie, it's the last time of the show, which means we get to play this.
What story did Sparky miss talking about today on Wisconsin Sports Daily? Don't you worry. Sparky's got you covered now. Don't miss Milwaukee Admirals hockey this season. Don't just buy tickets. Invest in memories at MilwaukeeAdmirals.com.
All right, let's go to the Terran Armstead show, a longtime NFL player. He had Cam Jordan on, who the Saints decided to move on from, and Cam Jordan was talking about where he might want to play and so forth now that he is a free agent.
If I want to get 10, 12, 13 sacks this next season, then I need to be in the best position to do so. And it could be at the Saints. It could be, it could be at Miami Dolphins. It could be, I won't go now. It can't be Cleveland or Buffalo or Green Bay, but it could be. It could be.
You don't like the cold, huh?
Man, there would be a number that could get me over there. But then is that what you want? I want to do it for the love of the game.
I'm telling you right now, Cam Jordan is not the only one that says that about Green Bay. I mean, I know we all love the Packers, and we love the history, the tradition, and the black and blue division and all of that stuff. I get we're all down with it, but I'm telling you, the fact that they play where they play without a dome covering Lambeau Field and having to play in the elements in the cold weather and the extreme cold weather, that is a big reason why I think they can't get a lot of the guys that they may have interest in. They may talk to agents, and they're just so, he doesn't want to play there. Like, nothing against y'all. He thinks you're good, but he just doesn't want to play in the cold weather most of the year.
I talked about it with the wide receivers earlier, too. Yeah.
Right. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Hey, if you're looking for something to do tonight, St. Patrick's Day, come on out where we are out here wrapping up now. Then Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up coming up next. Only a half-hour edition because we have the first 4 NCAA tournament basketball games tonight in Milwaukee. I'm the fan. So half-hour Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up show coming up next from 5 to 5:30. Come hang out with us. Moe's Irish Pub, Highway 100, and Blue Mountain Live music going tonight until 11 o'clock. Kitchen open till 11 o'clock. That'll do it for Wisconsin Sports Daily in the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Have a good night, Wisconsin. Toodles.